win over the Dolphins if they are again to make the playoffs. There are no options. A loss tonight and Dallas will miss out on the run for the Super Bowl for only the second time in nearly 2 decades. And the New York Giants, surely looking on tonight, will claim the NFL's final playoff spot. For Miami, the division title was secured long ago, but they desperately want the AFC's home field advantage. A win will assure the Dolphins they will not be faced with the January road game at Denver. NFL and team records galore are on the line for the Dolphins tonight, and heading that assault will be second-year quarterback Dan Marino. The youngster with the golden arm is changing the standards for judging NFL quarterbacks. He already has shattered the single-season record for touchdowns with an incredible 44. The NFL record book could become his personal biography. Marino doesn't work alone. There are the two marks, Cooper and Clayton, each over 1,200 yards and 23 touchdowns between them. Marino's counterpart tonight, Danny White. He lost his job at the start of the season, but he's back tonight as the Cowboys are faced with one final opportunity. They know they'll need big moments from White, Tony Dorsett, their revitalized defense, and big play receiver Tony Hill if they are to upset Miami. It began on Labor Day weekend, this 1984 regular season. It ends tonight in the Orange Bowl in Miami with so much on the line. So much on the line tonight. The Dallas Cowboys down to their last chance. They've been to the playoffs 9 consecutive years in a row, and this is it for them. If they don't win tonight, they don't go. Miami, they desperately want that home field advantage. They don't even like to think about going to Denver for a January game. And, of course, other players involved. There are 49 New York Giants, looking on tonight, because should Miami defeat Dallas tonight, then the Giants will be the final wild card choice in the NFL playoffs. And, of course, the coaches. How are they affected? Well, we have two of the greatest here. Don Meredith talked earlier with his former head coach, Tom Landry, the second winningest coach of all time. And O.J. talked with Don Shula, the third winningest coach of all time.
Coach, there's been a lot of skepticism that a team that has already clinched its spot in the playoffs can come out and play maximum ball. If that's so, what can a coach do to have his team come out and play?
Well, I've just tried to point out how important this ball game is to us for a couple of reasons. We still have the possibility of having the home field for the AFC Championship game, and we want to do everything that we can to get that rather than travel to Denver if they're the team that's in it at the end. Of course, I realize that the Raiders had a little bit of a tough time doing that against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh played a great ball game and deserved to be in the playoffs by their great win over L.A. But our football team also has to play better. I got to feel better about our team. Our defense has to feel better about the way that they're playing. And we've been struggling some of late, and we want to get back to that good feeling of playing well in all departments.
Must situation for the Cowboys to make the playoffs. That's an unusual situation. It's unusual for me to be here on the 50-yard line, but I'm here with the coach, so that's why I'm here. Coach, I got a feeling you like these kind of games. That you got to win them.
Well, we really do. We have to win this one if we're going to go any further. We're going home and have Christmas and watch everybody else play. So it's a big one for us, and we hope that we play very well.
I'm sure you will. I'm also sure you're prepared, and I would imagine that looking over your game plans, you say, hey, this particular unit I'm really proud of. This particular unit I may be a little bit more concerned with. Which one are you proud of, and which one are you most concerned with?
Well, we've had a great team this year together doing our job, but we know that our defense has carried us a lot during the season, and this is one that's been doing the best job for us. And offense, we're worried about it because we know that Miami is going to score a lot of points because of their average, and so some way we have to get enough points or we have to slow them down, one or the other.
So unlucky to be behind at the end of the game, right?
That really is.
All right, good luck to you, Coach.
The man who has had a season he'll never forget, Danny White, waited so many years to take over from Roger Staubach, got that job. At the beginning of the year, he was replaced, but he's back in the saddle once again. And Dan Marino, what can you say about this young man? He has handled everything so beautifully. On the verge of so many records, we'll be talking about him throughout the entire evening. Dallas has won first tonight. They have won the toss, and they have elected, of course, to receive, dropping deep Gary Allen and Chuck McSwain, and set to kick off Uwe von Schamann. Allen, 31, McSwain, 35. And for just a brief moment before we came on the air, this Orange Bowl was eerily silent. They love this Dolphin football team.
It won't be silent all night.
Oh, it'll be loud. We're underway from the Orange Bowl in Miami, the Cowboys and the Dolphins, and von Schamann with a prevailing wind blowing from the open end of the end zone, carries it into the end zone, touchback, and Danny White will lead the offensive unit out. Those are his numbers. He did not play in the first 5 games. Replaced an injured Gary Hogeboom. and pulled out a New Orleans game 8 weeks ago. Started the next week and beat Indianapolis. Injured his shoulder in the Giants game 6 weeks ago. He missed the next 2 starts, and then he has been the starter since the loss to Buffalo 3 weeks ago. There is the offensive line. None of those offensive linemen will be in the Pro Bowl. That is highly unusual for the Cowboys. 1st and 10 to the 20-yard line. Tony Dorsett, single setback. Over 1,100 yards on the season. He'll try it first on the left side. And he skips out over the 25-yard line to the 26 for a gain of about 6. It'll be 2nd down and 4 as we look at the defense. The question mark, Bob Baumauer in the middle. Very sore ankle. The linebackers, we weren't altogether sure that Charles Bowser on the outside could go. We'll probably see a lot of Ernie Roan tonight. Don McNeil, healthy once again after missing all of last year, most of this year. He's over in the left corner for the Dolphins. He's an added plus. 2nd down and 4. We'll see a lot of wide receivers. Number 82, Mike Renfro. Number 83, Doug Donnelly. They will alternate much of the evening. And, of course, Timmy Newsom, the starting fullback as of 3 weeks ago. He wears number 30. He'll be in there with Dorsett. On 2nd and 4, Tony Hill. Dallas first down out over the 35 to the 37-yard line. And, Don, if they are going to get the big play, Dallas, they are going to look to this man.
They should and they will, I think. Frank, you're going to see that Dallas, I think, kind of pull out all the stops. It's pretty easy to say that. That's a pattern that's been in their offense for a number of years, but you're going to see them throwing so many different sets. They feel that both offensively and defensively, what they really got to do is mix it up, throw everything at them, and go for it.
Miami rated 13th in the AFC against the run, 5th against the pass. Their defense has shown many signs of weaknesses over the past few weeks. On 1st and 10, Danny White back. Fires behind Tony Dorsett. Incomplete. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Pressure is coming from Kim Bocamper. OJ, your thoughts on what this young man must do?
I feel Tony must have a good game today. As you know, they want to have ball control. They want to keep this Miami high-powered offense off the football field. And normally, if Tony has a good day, the Cowboys win.
His longest run from scrimmage, hard to believe, 31 yards for Tony Dorsett. He's had only 2 100-yard games against Philadelphia and Indianapolis. The Cowboys have changed that offensive line almost weekly because of injuries. 2nd down and 10. Dorsett follows Newsom over the left side, and he's out over the 40-yard line. He'll get about 3. It'll be 3rd down and 7. Long yardage passing down for Danny White coming up.
The thing that we saw on that pass play before, we saw about Joe Montana throwing that one so well a week ago, or like it seemed like a week ago, Friday. That ball was just thrown behind, and had Tony been able to catch that one, he would have picked up a good 5 or 6 yards.
The receivers for Dallas. The tight end, Doug Cosby, is the leading receiver. That's strange. Dallas has never had a leading receiver that's been a tight end. Tony Hill has 52. Doug Cosby has 55. From the shotgun. White has the time. Overthrows his intended receiver out of the backfield, Newsom. And Dallas will punt, and the partisan crowd that will make a tremendous amount of noise tonight already being heard from. Danny White stays on to do the punting. Bolton Walker will drop for Miami. Fine return man. Remember him in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, setting Super Bowl records for kickoff returns. Danny White averaging a little over 38 yards. Cowboys lead the league in having to punt.
Dallas would really like to keep that ball in this first quarter going that way. The wind's going to be in Miami's favor. Kicking into the wind, good kick.
Good kick by Danny White into a strong wind. Bolton Walker had to make the fair catch, and that was a tremendous boot by Danny White into that gale. Carried inside the 15-yard line and forced the fair catch by Bolton Walker. Opening moments from the Orange Bowl. Miami, their first possession, the ball inside their 15-yard line. Sellout crowd of 75,000 plus on hand tonight. Tony Nathan, very versatile single setback now for the Dolphins. And, of course, the great Dan Marino at quarterback. Marty in motion. And Marino gets a shot off, and it's complete. It goes to Mark Cooper, but Marino was really popped. And what Don mentioned before, you get the feeling the Cowboys are going to come with all kinds of blitzes. But Duper gets the first down out near the 40-yard line.
They're going to throw everything, but that puts the pressure on these guys back in the backside because Duper and Clayton are just so good. They've got great hands. You'll notice that most of the time these guys can look at that hit on, who was that? Is that Hegman?
Mike Hegman.
Yeah, that's Hegman that came through there.
First down Miami, 40-yard line. Woody Bennett now at setback. The leading rusher for the Dolphins, wearing number 34. They'll try him over the left side. He's upended, sprawls for about 3. Second and 7. Let's meet the offense of the Dolphins. So familiar now. This young man, all kinds of records. He's already set a touchdown single season record of 44. We mentioned that. 59 yards he needs to break Dan Fouts' NFL record for yards in a season. He can, with 256 yards, go over 5,000. No one has ever done that. There is an offensive line. 3 Pro Bowlers in the middle. 2 Pro Bowlers and an alternate in Roy Foster. And 2 Pro Bowl wide receivers, number 85 Duper, number 83 Mark Clayton. 23 touchdowns between them.
They give him a different look there.
Second and 7. Got away by Ed Too Tall Jones. And he has knocked so many of them away.
I think that's 17 or something this year, Frank. That's a career high for him, but they're going for the ball tonight. This is
7 in the last 5 games for Ed Jones. And we'll look at the defensive unit. It starts out with 4-3. We'll probably see a 4-0 now. That means all linebackers come out. Thurman, Bates, Albritton come in. Smerrick comes in for Dutton. And Bates and Klingscale move up as linebackers. They're hard-hitting defensive backs. 3rd and 7. 3 wide receivers in. Cephalo joins Duper and Clayton. At the 43-yard line, 3rd and 7. From the shotgun, Miami.
Look at Bates up there in that linebacker position. He's got his
Marino, wide open field. Still looking for the big one. A little bit of bumping against Matt Moore. No flags. Marino could have perhaps run 15 yards had he so wished. And perhaps Don Shula just as happy he didn't. But we'll see Reggie Roby, the punting unit, comes out for the Miami Dolphins. Don Shula, only 1 losing season in 22 years as a head coach. That is truly remarkable.
Funny, the Cowboy realizes that on 3rd down, the Dolphins like to go to Nat Moore, their slot back. They had him covered one-on-one by Everson Walls, and Everson had excellent position on him on that pass. He was never open.
Reggie Roby with the prevailing wind. They put it over in the West Coast. The man can kick. Big second-year man out of Iowa, 6'3", 235. He puts it up high. He'll be going to the Pro Bowl in Hawaii as the punter. That time, just end over end, and he gets a lot out of it. Fair catch called for, executed. Gary Allen and Dallas will have their second possession. They'll be near their 13-yard line when we return. 45-yard effort by Reggie Roby, high enough to force the fair catch by Gary Allen. He's 6'9", Don. That could explain why he has batted away 48 passes over the past 4 years, and he just got a key one a few moments ago against Marino.
That was his 15th for the season, which is an all-time high for him for 1 year.
The Cowboys, second possession, just out over their 12-yard line, first down and 10. Dorsett drops into the eye behind Timmy Newsom. Newsom, left side, and the big man with the superb moves and speed gets out to the 19-yard line, picking up almost 7 yards before he's upended by Bowser.
Everybody seems to come in with a kind of a similar philosophy to play Miami. We've talked about these statistics before. They try to run on them because they're way down in the league standing as far as defending against the run, but the reason is they're always so far ahead of everybody. They got to pass.
But that doesn't make sense either. I'll tell you why in a minute.
All right.
Second down and 3. Dorsett gets a block by Newsom, but closing out there quickly was Bowser to make the stop just about the line of scrimmage. So it will be 3rd and a long 2.
It's surprising that the Dolphins are so rated so low against stopping the run. They're rated 23rd in the league. When you consider that they're ahead so early in football games, you would think that their opponent would be forced to throw the ball to catch up. It's surprising to find out that they have been unable to stop teams from running.
In the last 4 games, the Dolphins have given up 537 yards to San Diego, over 400 to the Jets, over 400 to the Raiders. So defensively, they're troubled. 3rd down, short yardage. Danny White is back. Wide open, and bobbling the ball and then collecting the ball was Timmy Newsom, a fine receiver, even as bulky as he is, 6'2" and 230 132 pounds a year ago in an overtime game. He pulled it out with a 52-yard touchdown run that brought that game to overtime. He's good out of that backfield.
I thought this was even tipped right here early. But it just, nope. There it was bobbled right there.
Well, you know, the ball is really waffling down there. There's a lot of wind up here, I guess, since the beginning of the game. It's really blowing around down there. And, of course, Marino, with the stronger arm, will have less problems throwing the ball and cutting the wind.
He cuts right through that wind.
Dallas, first down, just inside their 28-yard line. Dorsett slipped, regained his balance, and gets over the 30-yard line to the 31, gain of 3. It'll bring up second down and 7. That offensive line has changed 8 different times for the Cowboys. They have lost their 2 starting tackles to injured reserve, Howard Richards, Jim Cooper, and where that really impacts on an offensive team is the running game. Not so much the passing game, because guards can move to tackles, tackles can move to guards, and they can block. But it makes a difference in the running game. That's average
almost 5 yards a run against the Dolphins. That's not like the old great Bill Arnsberger coached Dolphin defenses.
Second down, 7. Against receiver Mike Renfro was there by William Judson, and he dumps it into the ground. It'll be third down and long.
You see a little bit of that on Danny Arm's right arm. Kind of an unusual route. Frank, you got the right terminology for it, but he had his arm drained, his elbow drained last week after the game. It's a little like
It's a synovial sac.
See there?
It fills with fluid.
There you go.
It's not painful. I played one entire year with it.
Yeah, but you were a very tough person.
Not painful until they stick that needle in there.
Yeah.
The needle is much more painful than the damage itself. Third down, 7. No score. 9 minutes remaining in the first quarter from the shotgun. White looking for Hill. Overthrows. Defensive coverage by Don McNeil. But again, I think that was just the wind that had the impact on that ball. Danny White is not the strong-arm quarterback, not the strong arm, at least, of Dan Marino, and it's going to work heavily against him as he moves into the wind. Holden Walker dropping on fourth down. Neither team has been spectacular in their return units on kickoffs or punts this year, but you know this man is dangerous. Danny White, his first punt, he got off a beauty into that strong wind. This time off the side of his foot, and heads up play up front. It was a good play by Glenn Blackwood. Wisely saw that he would have to handle the ball. He made the fair catch, did not allow the bounce, and the Dolphins have good field position at their own 37. From the Orange Bowl in Miami, that's the Dolphins' record. Not bad on Monday night. Not near the Raiders, but not bad either. 8:55 remaining in the first quarter. No score. The Dolphins first down and 10. The ball inside their own 37-yard line. The Dolphins a win tonight. They'll have home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs. The Dallas Cowboys a loss tonight. They go home and watch the playoffs. Marino back. Good protection.
There's great protection.
And still, good coverage. Dickerson picking up the tight end. Bruce Hardy covering him like a blanket. Anthony Dickerson almost like a big safety man. He's 6'2" and 220 pounds and very agile, very quick. They can use him many ways in coverage.
He was a high school All-American halfback a few years ago.
That's not exactly true.
Well, they're just being nice to him. They say, we love you.
Players, of course, pulling for Miami to defeat the Cowboys, and then the Giants will be the wild card playoff team. Joe Carter, the rookie from Alabama, a good running back in there for Miami. Here comes Carter. Dexter Clinksville made the contact. Carter slipped loose, but he was covered quickly with the flow. Gain of about a yard and a half. It'll be third down, long yardage.
Those safeties make an awful lot of tackles. Dexter Clinksville, you saw them come up very quick. Michael Downs is the leading tackler on the team, but they expect a lot of those guys. The safeties come up, they play them like linebackers a lot of times.
It's somewhat unusual for a safety to lead the team in tackles. Normally you have a linebacker with that statistic.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, though, Lyle Blackwood, the free safety for the Dolphins, is their second leading tackler. Don Shula, somebody asked him why. He said, just watch it play. Third down, long yardage from the shotgun. in front of the intended receiver. That was Mark Clayton. And the Cowboys get the first turnover of the game with 7:53 remaining in the first quarter. Only the 16th interception against this man as Ron Fellows stepped right in front of Clayton.
He really did play it, too, didn't he?
I was going to say, I was surprised Marino threw the ball because Ron Fellows has him covered like a blanket here.
He knows
not open.
Yep, he knew right where he was. He slipped down a little bit, but Ron made a better move that time than did Mark Clayton.
Even if he hadn't have slipped, he would have waited for the ball.
So Dallas has an opportunity to have the ball at Miami's 43-yard line. We'll be back.
Tony Dorsett had his career high in average yards per carry in a Monday night game at Washington, September 5th, 1983. He averaged better than 10 yards per rush.
Ron Fellows took over that cornerback spot this season from Dennis Thurman. Good coverage. You saw it a moment ago. He gets the turnover, and up comes the Cowboys at the 43-yard line. First and 10 of Miami. It up close to a first down. I think he has the yardage for the first near the 32-yard line.
Tony Hill will go back to the huddle and tell Danny White, get it down, Danny, get it down.
No medicine balls, no medicine balls.
Those are rib ticklers.
Well, they're trying to mix them up, of course. It's one of those things they kind of expect them to run. You saw that was a play action fake. I expected them to really run, seriously run a little bit. And I think Dallas thinks that they can't. Comment on the interception a moment ago and talking to some of the coaches before the game, they say, particularly that guy, he says, I've never seen a quarterback like Marino who can throw the ball into so many places. It looks like he shouldn't, and his guys always come up catching it.
That's Don Strock with the cap on. He is, of course, a many-year veteran, has been around for 11 years, has had some great games in relief, first of Greasy, then of Woodley, and, of course, he has not had to relieve Marino this year. First down and 10. The Cowboys moving. This one over to the side, and Newsom finds an opening, and he gets up there for about 4 yards near the 27-yard line before Bowser makes the stop.
One advantage the Cowboys will have, because they have so many smaller offensive linemen, is that they should be quicker, and they should have a more versatile running game. Those guys can get outside on quick pitches and do, more exotic blocking combinations inside.
Second down and 5. Renfro will move in motion. Out to the right side. Up at the top of your screen is Tony Hill. Dorsett. Newsom tried to get the block on Bowser. He got into Bowser, but Bowser was able to move off the block, make the stop, and hold Dorsett to a couple of yards. It'll be third down and 3.
Well, on that play, I think it's the surface of this field that stopped Dorsett. It looked like he had gotten around Bowser, and he slipped as he tried to turn upfield. And I've noticed thus far tonight 3 or 4 players slipped. It rained here a little last night, rained here a little this morning.
The ball at the 26-yard line. Third down, long 3. Getting close to set the end field goal range. Keep in mind a prevailing wind and a strong gusty wind blowing right into the Cowboys. Danny White, Tony Hill. Tony lost the first down. Depends upon where they mark the progress, and they're going to mark it very close to a first down as Don McNeil moved up and hammered Tony Hill after the reception.
Tony Hill made a nice move on the first move. He realized he may be in danger of losing the first down. Then he was slung back at the second time, so I think they gave him the yardage after this first move. Now, this is the move right there. Now, this is not his fault at this point.
They got him back there, huh?
He was in the blender.
That looked to be one of those delayed audibles, too.
They bring out the yard marker. You'll watch as referee Pat Haggerty marks it off. We'd like to congratulate Washington on another division title yesterday, and also those Cardinals. They played so well.
Absolutely.
To the Steelers against the Raiders. To Denver, against Seattle. Hard to play up there. And, of course, the Chicago Bears brought out one of the senior citizens, Greg Landry, for a win yesterday. And if I don't mind, even my Giants, who are all watching right now up in New York, as a Dallas victory tonight would knock them out of the playoffs. They, of course, pulling strongly for Miami to win tonight.
And let's not forget Art Monk with an all-time reception record.
Oh, yeah. Charlie Joyner during the season. Eric Dickerson on his great effort this year.
Who?
First down and 10.
What's his name?
White again.
Oh, no.
It'll be picked off. Taken in the end zone by Judson, and he's just flirting around back there. He knew better than bring that out. Timmy Newsome was deep downfield. Danny White waffled one up there. Not a Cowboy that could even take it away from Judson. Let's watch.
Well, it appeared to me that I don't know where he's throwing that ball. I guess he's trying to hit Newsome over there on the side.
Yeah, but he certainly didn't read the coverage.
So, turnabout, fair play. The Cowboys got the interception to set up a possible scoring drive, and now Miami gets the turnover. We'll be back in a moment. William Judson started all last year for Don McNeil over the left corner, and this year, when McNeil went down again, he had already moved over to the right corner, and he was in the right place at the right time to pick off a very poorly thrown ball by Danny White. Still no score, 4:48 remaining in the first quarter. First down and 10 Miami at their own 20-yard line. Marino once again. Hardy wide open, and Hardy over the 34. Miami first down near the 34-yard line in the arms of Dickerson. Dickerson trying to stay with Hardy once again all the way. They're covering the tight end with Dickerson, who is capable of doing that. That time Hardy just went right by him. And from Marino's point of view, you can see how wide open Hardy is. Dickerson in pursuit.
He's got to love that big 57, Dwight Stevenson, Pro Bowl center. You saw him kind of dancing around back in there and said, who's loose? Who's loose? I'll get you.
They'll be throwing the ball all night long to Hardy if they continue to cover him with the linebacker. They're trying to protect themselves on the corners, Duper and Clayton with double coverage. Inside handoff. Nathan, he does everything so well to the 40-yard line. Gain of 7, second down and 3. Jim Jeffcoat there defensively for Dallas.
Kind of one of those misdirection plays. They turned Randy White loose, which is dangerous for anybody's health. But Roy Foster, left guard there, going to be working against Randy White most of the evening. They let him go by, didn't block him, and Randy ran by it that time.
Roy Foster's had his work cut out for him today. He's number 61. This is his first year starting because of Bob Kuchenberg's injury, and he's an alternate in the Pro Bowl.
He works tonight against Randy White. Bennett, right side. Good cutback inside of Everson Walls to get the Miami first down at the 45-yard line. Walls, a good tackler. That time Bennett broke back inside and gets the first down.
Well, they're changing his cleats because, as I mentioned, it rained here this morning. It rained last night. The surface of this field is somewhat slick, and they're putting longer cleats on his shoes. That's good. You'll have better traction, but it could be bad because you can get knee injuries if you plant too solidly and get hit.
A lot of defensive substitutions on first down. That's a little unusual for Dallas.
Clock moving, first quarter. 2:45 remaining, no score. First and 10, Miami near their own 45. Marino again with a lot of time and gets it to Tony Nathan. You saw him carrying the ball from a setback position a few moments ago. This time you see Nathan as a receiver as Gene Lockhart is there to make the stop. 519 yards rushing into the night for this man and 54 receptions, a typical Tony Nathan year.
Well, most of the ball, Marino's passes tonight should go to either a running back or the tight end because what the Cowboys are doing are some kind of combination double teaming on the two outside men, Mark Clayton and Mark Duper, which is something I would think is smart to do.
Second down 4. The ball just into Dallas Cowboy territory. Bennett right side. Trips up on his own man.
Made a good move.
Makes a good move, however.
Like they had him
Close to Dallas's 45-yard line. That's 2 fine moves by Woody Bennett, leading rusher into the night. Of course, if you follow the Dolphins, you know that tragically they lost David Overstreet. They are all wearing black 20s on their helmet in memory of David Overstreet, who was just coming into his own a year ago, and then Andre Franklin the leading rusher from a year ago, went down in the second game, lost due to knee surgery. So they have split the rushing chores between Woody Bennett and Tony Nathan, and Joe Carter, the rookie from Alabama, has started to come on. The third down very short.
Big Pete Johnson in the game, number 46.
Johnson came from San Diego, fourth game of the season. When Andre Franklin went down, gets the first down for Miami near the 43-yard line of the Dolphins. And we head to the final minute of the first quarter, in which the Cowboys have had to work against a very stiff breeze. No score.
That could be a real moral victory, as a matter of fact, for the Cowboys. Look at them coming in again. They're going to throw so many blitzes and stuff. They're trying to confuse Marino, but so far,
I think they're waiting till the play is signaled in, and then they change the defensive personnel.
nice little chess game going on.
Marino in trouble. Randy White covering Marino back in Miami territory inside their 45.
Oh, Marino's lucky. Fumbled the ball and fell right on it.
Now this year for Randy White, who once again goes to the Pro Bowl. He's something.
Big Randy working against Roy Foster, as we mentioned earlier.
Got him right under the chin, too, didn't he? Actually, he's got a new one in there.
Yeah,
Jeff Taves is in there for Roy Foster. And now Foster.
And watch that ball.
Foster's back in there now.
Randy's just such an outstanding football player. He opens up a lot of other things for some of the other guys, I think, particularly Jeff Coates.
Second down, 18. Carter, 23, is the setback, and they'll try him on the left side. Carter, good running, and Carter gets out of the arms of Michael Downs, stepping out of bounds, back close to the original line of scrimmage at the 43-yard line.
Cowboys got to be a little upset with poor tackling, too, Frank. It was a good run, but they had some guys there in position to make that tackle. Downs was one. Bates was one. Jeff Coates was in that area. Made a good move, though, to bounce off of him.
They mark it inside the 43, so it'll be third down and 9. The 4-0 defense comes on for Dallas. They will blitz Bill Bates, who is going to the Pro Bowl as a free agent a year ago, Pro Bowl this year. They love him in Dallas. Plays like a linebacker. That's him, number 40.
Special teams he made the Pro Bowl on.
Here comes the blitz. Marino reads it, gets the ball to Duper, and Duper held short of the first down inside the 35 as the gun sounds ending the first quarter. And if they're thinking field goal for Miami Dolphins, now Uwe von Schamann, having a poor year, will be kicking against that breeze. Came on. He has not made an attempt at a field goal in the past 3 games. His longest field goal of the season is 37 yards. And then Don Shula had second thoughts at 4th down and 2, and he sent the offensive unit back out onto the field. I do believe, yes.
There was a flag, but I think it's the offensive line. I saw movement, I thought, by the offensive line.
It was 4th down and 2.
Did he fumble that
more? I don't think he had control of it. It popped loose and came into the arms of Ron Fellows. And let's get it sorted out. Here is referee Pat Haggerty.
Here comes Pat.
Illegal motion, offense, decline, first down.
So we will take a look at that again. We'll look at it at the reverse angle, why we have the camera over there in the first place. You'll see number 89 coming across the middle. He's wide open. He never had control of it.
Now
he's hit hard by Bates. Fellows picks it up. And it is Fellows' second turnover now. He'll be hit by Jim Jensen, I believe. Here he comes, number 11. Multi-talented.
And he knocked it out.
And he sweeps it out of the arms, but the Cowboys cover. They have a first down. They have the win. They're inside the 40-yard line. Danny White fires to Tony Dorsett. He's out of it at the 45. Near the 46, a gain of 6. It'll be second down and 4. Mark Brown being the stop for Miami.
Talking to some of the coaches for the Cowboys before the game, and I thought they were teasing me, but maybe they're not. They said for the first time, we've been talking about all week, when they throw the ball and they catch the ball, we're going to have one guy to try to knock the ball out of their hands. We were talking about that earlier in the year, and that's what it looked like that time. Bates put his head right on that ball.
Second down, 4. Still no score. Early moments, second quarter. Dorsett tries to sweep outside, and Judson makes a fine tackle at the line of scrimmage.
Well, if Doug Donnelly, number 83, would have made a block on Judson, that play was well developed. Dorsett would have had a lot of running room. As you'll see way on your outside, on the right side of your screen, that number 83 is trying to make a block. He doesn't make the block. Judson defeats him, comes up and makes a fine tackle on Tony Dorsett.
4-0 defense, anticipating pass, and again, Miami bringing in their defensive specialists now. Their pass prevent defense, they brought them in like Dallas, very late. Listen to the crowd. Danny White gets away from Bocamper, stumbles, gets away again, and he is really hammered. Danny White, slow, getting up. He got away from Bocamper initially, and then he really got hit. He had A.J. Drouet was there, and that will be fourth down. And this is the defense Dolphin fans have been questioning and wondering about. The Killer Bees are back, at least on this series.
The Killer Bees, Metters, Baumhauer, Bocamper, Brzezinski, Brophy, Brown, Bowser, Blackwood. I'm telling you, that's a bunch of bees.
There's Fulton Walker and Danny White. Shaken. He'll stay in, however, and he will do the punting. Danny White has on occasion run the football. I don't think we'll look for it on this one.
What a nice kick, though.
And it's a Miami bound into the end zone for the touchback. So Miami will have their football back at the 20-yard line following a 54-yard punt into the end zone by Danny White. We'll be right back. One record that is in total jeopardy because Marino has tied the record set by Danny Fouts back in 1981 of 4,802 yards. He'll exceed that considerably, barring something unforeseen tonight. And, of course, there are other records to come. He's thrown for 400 yards 4 times this season.
That's amazing stat for me.
First down and 10, Miami at the 20-yard line. Nathan for a couple of yards. It'll be second down and 8. ABC's Wide World of Sports this Saturday, 1984, the year in review. ABC's Wide World of Sports will be moving to its new time period. Now, that'll be 4:30 Eastern and Pacific, 3:30 Central. We'll take a look back at the dramatic and very emotional year in the sporting world from Sarajevo to Los Angeles, from the Kentucky Derby to the Indianapolis 500. And you can share it all in a special 2-hour presentation this Saturday with us on ABC's Wide World of Sports. Again, that special time, 4:30 Eastern Pacific, 3:30 Central. Second down and 8, Miami. Joe Carter, single setback. That was intended to be a fake reverse, and forget it. Deep penetration.
Play scale.
Took away all the fake. Jim Jeffcoat was in there. And so, too, was Big John Dutton. Jim Jeffcoat really has come on in the last few weeks. #1 draft pick a year ago from Arizona State. Loss of 3. It'll be third down 13 as we look at the numbers from the first quarter, and you would expect 2 explosive offensive teams. Certainly Miami to put something on the scoreboard. If you have just joined us, such is not the case in a game that means everything to Dallas. If they lose tonight, they'll watch the playoffs at home, and the Giants will become an NFC wild card. The Dolphins, they think it's very important to have the home field advantage throughout the playoffs. If they win tonight, they'll have it. Look out, Danny. Marino, and wide open downfield is Nat Moore.
What a catch by Nat. He was tagged, wasn't he? Michael Downs, I believe, was the guy that hit him. Not for sure.
I don't know whether you happened to see that shot that Nat Moore took against the Jets a few weeks ago when they spun him like a propeller. He'll hold on to the football, this 11-year veteran. We'll look at it wide, and you'll see Nat Moore circling from a wingback position. He's wide open in front of Michael Downs.
Actually, he was looking against Everson Walls. Everson tried to bump him at the line of scrimmage, and Everson fell down, and that left Nat Moore wide open.
Good job by Marino, too, because Marino...
They're going to stop the game now. Marino handed the game ball at least the first game ball he'll get tonight by referee Pat Haggerty. He has broken the single-season yardage record set by Dan Fouts back in 1981. Marino now at 4,853 yards, and he is closing on, well, what could have seemed the impossible a few years ago. He could even become tonight the first passer ever to pass for 5,000 yards. That's a lot of miles.
A little poetic justice, but Matt Moore was the guy that caught it. He's the leading all-time receiver for Miami.
And near the 39-yard line, the Dolphins will put it in play. First and 10. Looking deep. Michael Downs was running stride for stride with Duper. Fellows back there also. But it was Michael Downs who made the play on the ball.
I've got a feeling that's the kind of pass that Coach Landry was talking about before the game that Marino will just throw anyway. Now, he had Duper looked like he was open, but there they were in a zone. So all he had to do is play that center field and come over and cover it. He had a better chance, or certainly as good a chance to catch it as did the Dolphin receiver.
Well, what they're doing is spreading out this Cowboy defense. I noticed on that play that Dan Johnson had defeated Mike Hickman coming across the middle, and I think they're just opening up these Cowboys.
Second and long. The Cowboys love to blitz. They love to bring everyone on second and long. Tom Landry always has. They play it straight. Nathan over the left side, and they will stay in passing yardage situation.
Good recognition by Lockhart.
Down in 7.
Lockhart, the young middle linebacker for Dallas, and Jeffco, Jim Jeffco, both good recognition, came back in, filled the hole.
The Cowboys have had 25 sacks over the past 3 games. A lot of that attribute to one of the great Hall of Famers, Ernie Stoutner, Don, who's taken over much of the defensive duties that he has been sharing.
He really has. Talk about it again just in a moment, but he has done some new things there, and they've paid off for him the last few weeks.
Dallas in their 4-0 defense. Here it comes, and Marino reads it. And almost taking the ball from Clayton was Ron Fellows. He's already had one interception. Now, I'll tell you, when that kind of blitz is on, Fellows has got to be full of butterflies in the stomach because he knows he has no help from anyone.
Mark Clayton made a heck of a play here to get this ball away from Fellows, who caught it right there, but look at Clayton come through and strip him.
Meanwhile, there's a flag in the backfield.
And could have been roughing the passer back there. Here's Pat Haggerty.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Number 40. Defense. First down.
Did not see it. Bill Bates,
tough little special teams player, went for the head, tried to pull away. I'm innocent, he said. That's a very close call.
That is a very close call. He was in the air when the guy let the ball go. If he was pumping, he would have come down on him.
well, that's amazing.
Maybe he shouldn't have hit him in the helmet.
Is at Dallas' 43-yard line. Still no score. Second quarter, 9:57 remaining in the half.
That was a big one because it was a third down play, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Marino. Ooh, but you saw Marino at his finest. He didn't have that ball even caught. He just released it to Mark Clayton on a pass that should have been caught.
You were talking about Ernie Stoutner a moment ago, Frank, and I think Ernie is very deserving of the defensive play, particularly the last few weeks. What they've kind of done, you know, Dallas has been known as for the flex defense, very stayed in their ways. They play offensive formations. Tom's kind of turned him loose, and each week he puts in at least one new blitz. They've started opening that thing up and going for it. They don't feel like they've got the kind of guys who can stay there and play that same old defense. Whoops.
No flag. Bennett tries to get outside, moving over the right side, but apparently Jim Jeffcoat, I believe it was able to get back, and there will be a pickup of about 1.5 yards.
It's another good play by Ron Fellows there, O.J. He came up again from that position. They asked an awful lot of the secondary. They've been burned an awful lot through the years, particularly the cornerbacks. But you saw Ron covering Clayton deep. And the next play, he's up, makes a tackle about 2 yards past the line of scrimmage.
Well, they were... Excuse me, Frank. Go ahead.
Third down and 8. Again, the passing situation. And again, a down on which the Cowboys have been blitzing tonight. And they have Bates up the line of scrimmage. And Clinkscale. Marino, again under pressure, but he gets it to Clayton.
Oh, does he? There he goes.
60 touchdown reception from Mark Clayton.
What a job.
41 yards. And Marino right on stride with Clayton, and this 8th-round draft pick from last year only had 6 receptions a year ago. He has just scored his 16th touchdown. He only needs one more to tie a record held by Don Hudson.
Does a good job here again. You see him give a good outside move, beat him inside. You saw him drop a ball earlier, and that's because he was trying to run before he caught it. And I think he's just about the best runner with the ball under the defense as any player playing the game today. He can catch it underneath the defense and run by the guys.
No question. He was a tremendous punt returner a year ago. That's why they didn't use him. Only 6 receptions a year ago. He beat Victor Scott, the rookie defensive back out of Colorado. And we have our first score of the night, and Von Schaman, the strap, the holder, will attempt the conversion. Strap splits the uprights, and they love in Miami. 8:59 remaining in the first half, and the Dolphins are on top, 7-0. Clayton, 16th touchdown reception. Dan Marino, 45th touchdown pass, and that has set a new NFL record for team touchdowns. A mark that was held by Houston and Miami. Cohel coming into tonight at 66. Houston setting that mark back in 61. It is now the sole possession of Miami at 67 touchdowns for the season. Von Schaman to kick. Gary Allen is deep, number 31, with Chuck McSwain, number 35. Gary Allen from the 5-yard line. And Allen runs smartly out over the 25 to the 27-yard line. And let's take a look at the scoring drive. And on a 3rd down and passing situation, you'll see the yellow line that indicates roughing the passer. Bill Bates caught there. That gave new life to the Miami drive at the 43-yard line of Dallas. We'll be back in the Orange Bowl in a moment. Dallas Cowboys now down 7-0. Again, a loss tonight. They'll watch the playoffs for the first time in 10 years. 1st and 10 from their own 25-yard line, Dallas. Danny White throws a lateral, and unless he was ruled in the grass, the ball will be marked back there. Doug Betters had a hold of Danny White.
I tell you what was worse, his primary receiver, Tony Hill, he was looking at Tony, he pumped the throw at Tony, and Tony ran a stop pattern, and he was wide open.
Well, you got to get it going here.
Now, watch, this is Tony Hill. Now, this is his primary receiver. Here's the guy he's looking at. He goes to throw the ball, and he doesn't throw it.
It's called a little hesitation.
About that time was when Doug Betters arrived. 2nd down, 14. Trying to get the screen, and the Dolphins read it. And a makeup to Cosby, and it's good. He has the ball for a Cowboy first down at the 47-yard line.
Nice job of improvisation that time.
Cowboys, they don't look sharp. I mean, they're not fooling anyone. That was supposed to be a screen pass, and they didn't fool anyone. Danny does a good job of improvising, and
look at Cosby staying in
the Pro Bowl.
You bet. He has really had a heck of a year for him down there. Probably the best tight end from a catching standpoint. I know I've got some old teammates that would disagree with that, but he really's got some nice hands.
Tony Hill right. Renfro left. Wide receiver for Dallas.
Cowboys.
1st down and 10. Dorsett. Tony. Dorsett. Right into the arms of Jetson. They played that so well. Jetson on the outside. It was Bowser on the inside. And Dorsett had nowhere to go.
He had nowhere to go, but he got about 5 yards, 4 to 5 yards on 1st down, and most teams would call that a successful 1st down.
Brought him in the zone, it looked like, and he stayed at home. Judson stayed at home that time. He didn't go with the receiver going deep, so he was just sitting out there on the outside waiting for him.
That's the difference between a good back and a great back. A great back will appear as if he didn't get much, and you'll find out he got something.
Got him 5, didn't he?
Donnelly in now, wide receiver. Speedster from Ohio State, top of your screen. Tony Hill left on 2nd and 5. Blitz is on. Danny White picked it up nicely, gets it to Cosby. He's close to first down yardage.
That's what you call covering him like a rug.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Glenn Blackwood was right there.
If you didn't catch it, you would have thought it would have been a flag. Should have been a flag.
Glenn Blackwood, one of the Blackwood boys. The Bruise brothers, they call themselves. Lyle and Glenn.
They say it's not close enough for a measurement. So it'll be third down and much less than a yard to go. And there is Randy White, perhaps having his best year, and he has absolutely destroyed the concept of training camp. He was a holdout throughout the entire training camp this year. Came in, and he came in high gear, and he has not slowed down. Third, and perhaps a foot. This is Newsom.
And they stacked it up pretty well, didn't they?
Stacked it up, but I think he has the yardage for the first down. He needed about a foot.
Look, it still appeared as if their timing was off on that play. You saw the tight end come in motion. Cosby looked like he may have gotten there too soon or too late.
I think what Frank was talking about earlier, which is true, and it happens a lot of times, but they haven't had the same offensive unit starting all year long, and it is a little bit different on the runs. I mean, they've got to get that timing. If you're left guard, it's a different assignment. If you play right guard, that's just barely, isn't it?
Newsom gets the first down. The drive stays alive. Landry trying to keep the Cowboys in the playoff scene. The Dolphins trying to maintain American Football Conference home field advantage. And both of them with the eye on the Super Bowl coming up January the 20th. We'll be bringing it to you at 4 o'clock Eastern Time, and we are certainly looking forward to it. First down, Dallas. They are down 7-0. They're at Miami's 43-yard line. Play action, Danny White. Throws underneath, complete to Tony Hill, and Tony Hill will have another Cowboy first down at the 28-yard line, and we'll pause 5 seconds and allow our stations to identify themselves.
Channel 10, WPLG, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
A shootout between the Dallas Cowboys and the Miami Dolphins from the Orange Bowl in Miami. The Dolphins leading on a Dan Marino 41-yard touchdown pass to Mark Clayton. That's the only score thus far. We had a scoreless first quarter. Hard to believe with these two teams. Dallas has the football. First down and 10, 28-yard line of Miami. Strong prevailing breeze behind them. Dorsett. Fetters.
Nice play.
Great pass rusher. Not bad in the open field.
Boy, he did play that one well, didn't he? That's called reading that guy right over you. And he read that tackle. Going to pull out to the outside that time. Stayed right with him. That's the way to do it. That was Kurt Peterson, big guard actually, that came out there. And Fetters was right on him.
Loss of 5. Dallas back to the 33-yard line with the second down and 15. Baumauer gets a breather. Bill Barnett comes in. We told you earlier, the nose tackle Baumauer playing with a very sore ankle. Worked hardly at all this week. They need him in the middle. They're looking for a pass rush. The Miami Dolphins. Cosby in motion. Danny White in trouble, and down goes Danny White. Mark Brown on the blitz. The linebacker coming in. Now the loss all the way back near the 45-yard line. So it will be third down, extremely long yardage.
Don, it appears to me that the offensive line of the Cowboys are just giving up too much ground. Don't you think maybe they should start popping these guys at the line of scrimmage and fighting them there, because this Dolphins defensive line is getting a hit of steam, and these guys just aren't slowing them down. They're not beating them clean. They're just pushing them back.
Juriel Harris comes in. He played a long time here at Miami, 266 receptions. They traded him up to Cleveland. Cleveland released him, and Dallas picked him up a couple of weeks ago. He wears number 86 for the Cowboys. Third down, 27. Danny White looking for big things from Tony Hill.
You're not kidding.
And the Cowboys are out of field goal range. Good defensive effort by the Dolphins, and the crowd will show their appreciation.
That one could have really hurt them.
4:06 remaining in the half. Danny White stays on. Colton Walker will drop back and guess with Danny. the football back at their own 20-yard line. They lead 7-0. And we'll be back at a Wild Orange Bowl in a moment.
Tonight, a look at the only coach who's taken his team to 5 Super Bowls as Avis presents NFL Classics.
I hate to wait.
He hates to wait.
Well, you have to wait. So sorry.
Avis knows how frustrating it is to wait for your rental car. That's why we invented the Wizard number, so you can go right from your plane to the Avis bus. I hate to wait. We'll get you on your way and into your car fast. We know you hate to wait, so from reservation to return, I hate to wait.
He hates to wait.
We're trying harder, faster. I hate to wait.
Tom Landry has succeeded in transferring the workings of his football mind to the actual workings of a football team on the field. Always coaching, always teaching. Landry devised and built the most complex football engine there ever was, the Dallas Cowboys. He gave them birth. He gave them championships. He gave them Tom Landry.
Hard to believe there were 6 quarterbacks taken ahead of Dan Marino a year ago. He went in the 27th round. One has to question some of the scouting that has gone on.
I bet you all 6 of them wish they were playing for the Dolphins, too.
Jackie Sherrill, coach on A&M, says he thought Marino had a throw when he was up at Pittsburgh. You believe that?
First and 10 Miami. They're on top 7-0. 3:58 remaining in the first half. Marino gets the ball to Hardy. And Hardy, for a gain of about 8, will bring up 2nd down and 2 in the arms of Dexter Clinkscale.
Only on one occasion tonight has Dallas been able to put any pressure on Marino with just the front 4 guys rushing. So that tells a little something about that offensive line that we talked about. Most of them are either going to the Pro Bowl or they're the alternate. And Dallas has got a pretty good front 4 in there.
Well, the Dolphins have certainly got this Cowboy defense spread out because I would bet on the last 8 throwing plays, somebody for the Dolphins has been open over the middle.
Duper right. That's Mark Clayton up at the top of your screen. He caught the first touchdown pass. And we watch Tony Nathan.
Good play.
To the first down. Gene Lockhart, who replaced Bob Bruning some 5 weeks ago as the starter, and he is a hard-hitting rookie out of Houston. Bruning on injury reserve with a bad back.
Lockhart just plays with that wonderful, kind of reckless abandonment. It seems like you always try to attribute to a middle linebacker, and you see his size there, 6'2", 228, not terribly big for a middle linebacker, but he's very enthusiastic.
Well, he must have been doing a good job because other than last week's game against the Washington Redskins, they've been giving up only over 6 weeks, 14 points a game.
It's tough.
Dallas, of course, in command of that Redskin game until they turn it over 4 times in the 3rd quarter. Give credit to Washington. They'll take it away from you. 3rd and short, and Marino wants to go on top. The ball to Nat Moore. A flag is down. That probably is going to be pass interference against Dallas. It was a superbly run route by Nat Moore, and Marino had it right in front of him on the break.
Well, it might be on Nat too, Frank, because it's on Dallas.
Well, Nat's lucky enough. Normally he'll get the 3rd best defensive back covering him because he's the 3rd receiver coming into the game. On that play, he had Everson Walls, who's...
We have defensive holding, number 47, declined, first down.
He makes a move on Clinkscale, O.J., and Clinkscale could do nothing but try and grab him and prevent it.
He did, and watch who he defeats after that. It was Everson Walls he was able to defeat and catch the ball, and he's doing a super job for a guy who claims he's going to retire when the season is over.
But once again, they were over the middle. You mentioned that a while ago. The middle seems to be pretty open.
The first down is at the 48-yard line. Miami with 2:19 remaining in the first half, leading 7-0. They have 3 timeouts remaining, and they can work with the 2-minute warning. Tony Nathan. Tony Nathan trying to get to the outside, and the rookie from Washington, Vince Allquitten, slowed him at the line of scrimmage, and the pursuit took him at the first down marker.
That was Bill Bates that came running across like the wild man.
The 2-minute warning is announced to both benches. We'll be back with the final 2 minutes of the first half in a moment. Back in a rocking Orange Bowl. 2 minutes remaining in the first half. The Dolphins on top 7-0. And the Dolphins with the football at the 48-yard line. 2nd down and 10. Reminder, Coming up at halftime, Jim Lampley will have highlights from yesterday, and we'll take an in-depth look at the playoff picture. Both of these teams are certainly involved. The Dolphins have clinched a long time ago. They have a 13-2 record, losing only to the Raiders of San Diego. Dallas, they lose tonight. Well, it's home for Dallas for the holidays, and they'll watch the others, and they haven't done that only one time out of 18 years. Second down and 10. Marino rifles a shot to Nathan. He releases it so quick. 8-yard pickup to the 44-yard line of Dallas.
Nice little protective cup for him to work in there. They're really getting to the outside. He can stand still. Throw.
Dolphins with 3 timeouts, but they will go with their 2-minute offense. He doesn't want to kill the clock. He's looking for a completion. He tried to squeeze one in. Let's go now to Jim Lampley.
All right, Frank, very quickly, one NFL story. First-year Minnesota Viking coach Les Steckel was fired today along with his entire staff. Move not entirely unexpected. The Vikings finished a 3-13 season with 6 losses in a row. Gave up 484 points, which set a league record in that category. And to put it as politely as possible, in recent weeks, some of Steckel's players didn't seem to be risking their bodies in the way necessary to win in this league. So tonight, 1 year after the retirement of Bud Grant, proud franchise with a glorious history, is starting over, Frank.
That's Steckel. Get the feeling, if you know the young man, he'll be back. There's Gary Allen on 4th down. Reggie Roby will kick against a stiff breeze. That's the entire stadium can get under that one. And it takes a Miami bounce. Things seem to work that way when you're 13-2. And Dallas with 1:22 on the clock, down 7-0. Will have a first down at the 9-yard line. The Cowboys with 3 timeouts remaining. Giants coach Bill Parcells, you know, is looking on tonight with the rest of the Giants team and fans of the New York area. A Miami win tonight, and they will become the wild card, the final playoff team in the drive to the Super Bowl. And Miami leads the Dallas Cowboys 7-0, 1:22 remaining in the first half. The Cowboys 1st and 10 at their own 9-yard line. Danny White, Tony Hill. Tony Hill spins, twists, short of the first down. It'll be 2nd and short.
Well, Tony's trying to make something happen. He has a reputation of being a great runner after he catches the ball, but he should have gotten out of bounds.
Ticking down to 1 minute. Dallas, 3 timeouts. Second down and about a yard.
You are right.
Hill left. Doug Donnelly up at the top of your screen, the speedster. Dorsett gets the first down to the 23-yard line, but seconds tick away.
Aren't they going to call it time? Hey, how about timeout? There it is.
Danny White uses his timeout. He'll have 2 remaining, 36 seconds remaining, and he'll move over to visit with Tom Landry. And we'll be back in the Orange Bowl in a moment. Should Miami go on to win, the Giants would join the Los Angeles Rams as the 2 NFC wild cards. The Giants will play at Los Angeles in the NFC wild card game next Sunday. Should Miami win, and the AFC wild card game will be moved to Saturday. That would be the Raiders at Seattle. Other ramifications, Jim Lampley will be talking about at halftime. But of course, for Dallas, they trail only 7-0. They know that they have got to win to stay in the playoff picture. That, by the way, was against the Giants earlier in the year, the 2nd game of the season. Dorsett. Out of the ball. He was hit hard by Mark Brown. Hocamper putting pressure on Danny White.
Well, the Cowboys can't be totally unhappy. They have a reputation, even though they haven't scored in the first half. They have a reputation of being a great second-half football team.
Look at Danny now. He's kind of leading a little bit over here. Of course, he had some pressure coming in. But that ball right there was flopped up, and that one could have really been intercepted.
And Mark Brown had totally focused on Dorsett. If he'd have just looked up, the ball would have been in his arms for 6. Second down, 10. 29 seconds remaining in the half.
Going to run a little draw here.
Draw play. That's Springs. Springs gets about 6. Hardly enough. As Dallas will have to use another timeout.
Danny White's defense last week against the Redskins, the touchdown was intercepted in the third, the pass was intercepted for a touchdown in the third quarter. Really, Donnelly ran a wrong route.
They did not call timeout.
He wants it to go to the half.
They have 2 timeouts remaining, and they've let a lot of time run off.
And then throw a short pass.
Well, the Giants, the game plan is to stay close.
The Giants have got one back.
That's the end of the first half. Miami on top 7-0. Stick around. Jim Lampley will have halftime highlights when we come back.
Tonight's halftime is being brought to you by Apple Computer, makers of the Apple IIc. With over 10,000 programs, it's a lot bigger than it looks.
Halftime on a breezy night in the Orange Bowl, with the Dolphins having dominated the first half but leading Dallas by only a single touchdown at 7-0. Good evening. Throughout the evening, we have mentioned playoff pairings and the way in which this game can affect them. Tonight's highlights will combine a look at all of this weekend's playoff significant games with brief previews of the prospects of all the other teams involved in both conferences. First, the AFC, and 2 notes of precedent. The Raiders have played in Seattle's Kingdome 6 times and won there only twice. The Steelers and the Broncos have met in the playoffs twice before. Both times, the winner went on to the Super Bowl. We'll begin with a look at how Pittsburgh got in. The Steelers took the field in Los Angeles knowing that Cincinnati had already won, that they'd have to win to make the playoffs. Then they beat the Raiders for the first time in 7 games, stretching almost over 9 full years. They made Mark Wilson ineffective. This Donnie Shell interception in the end zone before halftime preserved the 3-0 Pittsburgh lead. First of 2 key plays in the game for Shell. The other came with 2.5 minutes left. The Raiders rallying under Jim Plunkett in relief of Wilson. The rush on Plunkett, again, number 31 with the football. That preserved the 13-7 Pittsburgh victory. Sources in the Raider front office hinting today that it may be Plunkett and not Wilson who starts in the playoffs. Denver went to Seattle, motivated by the fact that only 1 player from the Bronco roster made the Pro Bowl team. They took their anger out on the Seahawks and gave themselves a chance to stay at home through the playoffs. Key offensive play, first possession of the game, Elway to Watson, splitting 2 Seattle defenders. Watson went all the way to the 1-yard line before he was hauled down by Kenny Easley. It set up a touchdown that gave Denver a 7-0 lead and effective control of the football game. The other key play in the third quarter, 17-7 Denver at the time. Craig looking to the sideline. Number 43, Steve Foley, picked it off, took it back for the touchdown that made it 24-7 Denver. From there, the Broncos controlled the ball on the ground and won the division championship. Now Pittsburgh plays at Denver on December 30th. The Raiders at Seattle in the wild card game this weekend. The winner of this weekend's game in the Kingdome to take on the Miami Dolphins, who of course looked invincible through the first 11 games of the season, but now Don Shula's team will have to hope that Dan Marino continues to give passing lessons to the rest of the league, because in the latter half of the season, it has become a bit of a whirlybird for the Dolphins. Having trouble stopping the running game, they'll need some more healthy defenders to go to the Super Bowl. The Redskins and Cardinals took the field in RFK Stadium yesterday with a division title and a playoff berth on the line and played one of the year's most memorable games. Theismann to Monk clicked 11 times in the ball game, including this touchdown, which made it 6-0 Washington after a missed extra point in the first period. But St. Louis wouldn't quit. Neil Lomax brilliant in the ball game, 25 of 28 in the second half for 314 yards, including this 75-yard touchdown to Roy Green that made it 23-17 Washington in the third period and set up a fourth quarter war of nerves. Late in the game, a 20-yard Theismann to Monk pass on 3rd and 19 set up this Mark Mosley field goal from 37 yards, which ultimately won the game for the Redskins and gave them their 3rd consecutive NFC Eastern Division title. Who will they face in the playoffs? Well, the San Francisco 49ers are seen here as an early favorite to win their 2nd Super Bowl. Key ingredients: the imaginative coaching of Bill Walsh, the return of pass rusher Fred Dean has given them perhaps the most talented roster of players in the league. This is a team which, under Field General Joe Montana, has largely redefined the passing game. But the big difference from the Super Bowl entry of 3 years ago is a vastly improved running game with Wendell Tyler and Roger Craig. The Bears secured their place in the playoffs several weeks ago. They've enjoyed celebrating with Walter Payton in this, his record-breaking season. But injuries decimated them at quarterback, although today the word is that Steve Fuller will be healthy enough have to start in the playoffs, they won't have to depend on the inexperienced Lish or the aged Landry. The Los Angeles Rams, a team with talent but some question marks. How healthy will pass rusher Jack Youngblood be? How long can Eric Dickerson continue to dominate opposing defenses? The pressure will be on young quarterback Jeff Gimp. Backup Vince Ferragamo has played in a Super Bowl but is not expected to be able to play in the playoffs. The New York Giants make it if Dallas loses tonight. They've added a healthy and competent Phil Simms to the Lawrence Taylor-led defense that got them into the playoffs 3 years ago. In recent weeks, they've even shown signs of a running game. But injuries to the offensive line and to Pro Bowl cornerback Mark Haynes have weakened the Giants considerably going into the playoffs. As for Dallas, a victory tonight puts them in. They've spent much of the season determining whether it would be Danny White or Gary Hogaboom at quarterback. If the Cowboys can make it in, they will hope, along with 9 other teams, to make the trip to Stanford Stadium in Palo Alto, California, one of college football's most tradition-laden stadiums, hosting its first professional football game. Super Bowl 19, January 20, to be seen here on ABC.
Tonight's halftime is also being brought to you by Computerland, with over 700 stores worldwide. Their business is computers with a focus on you.
In just a matter of minutes, the second half will begin here in Miami. The Dolphins on top of Dallas 7-0. The one touchdown in the first half was a 41-yard pass from Dan Marino to Mark Clayton with about 9 minutes left in the second period. Marino's 45th touchdown pass of the year. Clayton's 16th touchdown reception. The NFL record is 17. The great downfield block by number 89, Matt Moore, on Dexter Klingscale escorted Clayton into the end zone for that touchdown, which made it 7-0 Miami. Again, the playoff implications of this ball game. If Miami is able to win the football game, then the Dolphins will secure the home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs. If they lose, they may find themselves playing the conference championship game in Denver, where the Broncos are 7-1 this year, on January 6th. If the Cowboys win, NFC wildcard game, Rams at Dallas. If the Cowboys lose, the New York Giants will make it into the playoffs and will play the Rams in Anaheim in the wildcard game. In a moment, Frank and Dandy and OJ will be back with more action in this ball game.
Chuck Dowdle, Larry Sugarman live at the Orange Bowl. 7-0 Miami, as you no doubt know. Hope you're enjoying this contest. Dan Marino, a record-setting night, Larry.
159 yards, 10 for 17, 1 interception, 1 touchdown pass, a beautiful 41-yarder to Mark Clayton, and it's 7-0 Miami.
And that's, of course, the 45th touchdown pass that eclipsed Jim Kelly's all-time single-season record. So a record-setting performance. Stay with the game. It's going to be a great one. Immediately coming up afterwards on Eyewitness News, we'll have a live report as well as post-game interviews. So stay with us.
Colton Walker is the man the Miami Dolphins would like to receive the kickoff. Dangerous return man. Super Bowl record holder from 2 years ago. 190 yards on 4 returns.
1 for 98 yards and a touchdown.
Raphael Septien to kick off. Cowboys down 7-0. Septien uses the stiff breeze to carry into the end zone. Walker hesitated and then decided to bring it out. And Walker held short of the 20-yard line. That would have been a touchback. It'll be first down Miami. And Dan Marino on the night, 10 of 17, 153 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception by Ron Fellows. He now needs 103 yards to achieve 5,000 yards in a single season. Truly remarkable. But he is truly remarkable. Spoke with Bob Greasy a moment ago. Nothing but superlatives did Bob Greasy have for Dan Marino.
And about anybody else you want to talk to?
At the 19-yard line, first down and 10. On the quick count. And that almost picked off. Tried to squeeze it in to Dan Johnson, the tight end, and sliding up there with Dexter Klingscale, who got a big hand on it. It'll be second down and 10.
And Harrison Walls actually almost had a shot at it after it bounced in the air, it looked like. That's all right, Danny. Loosen up.
I noticed those Cowboys played those receivers very tough inside out, and I guess they're going to try to make an adjustment and not let these Miami Dolphins receivers get open over the middle.
Late substitution that time.
Cowboys continuing to change defensively very late after the play has been sent in to Dan Marino. Movement at the line of scrimmage. And the ball is free, but I think Dallas is going to be called offside.
They surely are.
It was covered by John Dutton. or John Dutton, I think it was the man who moved, and then the ball was
Hegman, I think, maybe
covered by Hegman.
Yeah. Oh, that is a toughie there for Dallas.
Referee once again, Pat Haggerty. You saw the movement.
Well, if he hadn't have jumped, he probably would not have been in the backfield, and it probably wouldn't have been a fumble.
That's probably why they penalize them 5 yards for doing silly stuff like that.
Offside, number 78, defense.
Taking an unfair advantage.
They'll move it up 5. The down will remain the same. Second down and 5. And again, defensive changes on the part of the Cowboys.
Number 23, little Joe Carter, is in the game. I call him little. He's not that small. He's 5'11", 198 pounds. Reminds you a lot of Mike Garrett, former great Kansas City running back.
Rookie 4th-round draft pick out of Alabama, Joe Carter. Marino perhaps changing at the line of scrimmage. Marino, Duper. He did not have control of the ball. He stepped out of bounds, bobbling the ball. He had beaten Everson Walls very convincingly.
What a nice
catch. He did not control it.
What a nice catch anyway.
I would say that's an understatement, Frank. He got bumped there. Everson slipped again. And a guy with the speed of Duper, you can't afford to slip.
I tell you, that's a nice job of concentration. Look at these guys. These two guys catch their ball now. He just, juggle it. Boy, just a touch.
Yeah.
But they catch it in their hands. They've got great hands, these two young receivers down here.
That ball was almost caught for Duper on the pass from Marino. 3rd down, 5. From the shotgun, Marino with the quick release. Fires, and he gets to Duper in time. Even though Marino was under tremendous pressure, it'll be a Miami Dolphins 1st down.
Give him a lot of credit for holding on to that one, too. Duper's an awfully fine receiver.
Yeah, these two guys came in here tonight. Duper with 67 receptions, 1,249 yards into the night. And on the other side, Clayton had come into the night with 69 receptions, and both of them averaging over 18 yards. And, of course, Clayton has been responsible for the only score of the game, a 41-yard touchdown pass from Dan Marino. That was his 16th of the season. But they truly are remarkable. Both of them 5'9". 1st and 10. Marino looking big for Clayton. Flag goes down. There was bumping. And this is Everson Walls.
Well, from what I can see, both guys, their body bumped, but Clayton's arm came out on Everson Walls. It'd be interesting to see what the officials call.
Stride for stride, here's Pat Haggerty, and it's going to work against the Cowboys, as it so often does in a pushing match with receivers. He can't make contact with that receiver after 5 yards downfield. And here Walls with the right hand, warding off of Clayton. Again, a very close call.
I'm telling you.
What can you do if you're a defensive back?
I have not been able to figure it out in 15 years for sure.
Well,
what did he do? What did he do?
I don't know. He did about as good as he well at the last minute there. He made, but he was going for the ball.
He has the same right to the other guy to go for the ball, and he got it.
Another Miami record. They have now broken San Diego's 1st down record set back in 1981.
Who keeps all these things? I wonder. OJ.
1st down Miami, 39-yard line of Dallas. Marino checked upfield, gets it back out on the flat, goes to Nathan. Bill Bates in on that stop as Nathan gets inside the 35 for a gain of 4. Let's take a look at the stats from the 1st quarter, and we'll dissolve to the 1st half. Time of possession equal there. The only differential was a 7-point differential, and that was Marino to Clayton from 41 yards out. But Miami starting to pile up the yardage.
Well, I tell you, the big play in the 1st half was a roughing the quarterback call. That went against Dallas, and that call against Everson Walls may be the biggest play of the 2nd half.
Early moments of the 3rd quarter, Miami leading 7-0. They have a 2nd down and 6. The ball inside the 35 of Dallas. Marino again, quick release. Nathan once again. Nathan breaking tackles inside the 20.
Nice job.
In the arms of Everson Walls. 1st down, Miami.
That play was made possible by Dwight Stevenson. He did a super job of snapping the ball and getting to his left side and blocking the blitzing linebacker coming from outside.
They kill you with this man, Tony Nathan. You double cover on the outside, Duper and Clayton. You have to take Dan Johnson, the tight end, and cover him with the linebacker. The Cowboys can do that with Dickerson, but somebody has got to pick up Nathan, who works so well out of the backfield.
Somebody has got to get to Dan Marino, or they don't have a chance.
Sacked him one time tonight.
At the 19-yard line, 1st and 10, Miami. Clayton splits right, Duper top of your screen. Marino with a lot of time. That almost picked off. It was intended for Dan Johnson, and Mike Hagman had his hands on it for a moment.
Have you noticed that all the near interceptions have been thrown to the right side, and that could have something to do with Ed Too Tall Jones and John Dutton. You know, Ed Too Tall is 6'9", Dutton is 6'7", and it's got to be tough trying to throw over or around that height.
Tony Nathan comes back in, 2nd down, long yardage. Down the Cowboys, frequently blitz on. Danny White struggled through the first half of this game. He did not throw the ball, did not throw it crisply.
Interesting decision coming up.
On 2nd and 10.
Oh, they're doing a job on Randy White. 3 guys there.
Trying to get it into the end zone, intended for Nathan. There was bumping, but no flag. It'll be 3rd down and 10.
Had 3 guys assigned to Randy White that time. They kept him off, too. So if you can afford to use 3 guys, that means somebody else got to put a little bit more pressure on there. Either a Jones or a Smerick or Jeffcoat, somebody else. You can't take 3 guys and block one.
Don Shula has won a shared first place in this AFC East 12 of 15 years. Then to 4 Super Bowls with Miami, 1 with Baltimore, and now Miami has set another record. They moved ahead of San Diego's team record in 1981 in total yards. The old record, 67-44. They are now at 67-56. They continue to fall. 3rd and long, Cowboys showing blitz.
This has been Matt Moore's down thus far.
Marino again, reads it. Gets it to Cephalo, and Cephalo reaches forward for the 1st down.
What a job, what a job. Great timing pattern. Marino, Cephalo.
Oh, this kid is cool as ice water.
That was so good.
You get the feeling he's cheering for Cephalo. Every time Cephalo catches the ball, he runs to him and congratulates him.
1st down Miami. 1st down Miami. 1st down and goal. Let's look at it again. They're all coming.
People are coming from everywhere. He just zipped that ball out. Look at that spiral so tight.
Did you see Nathan? He has been running with the ball, receiving the ball. That time, he picked up Michael Downs and allowed the completion.
That was nice.
At the 8-yard line, 1st down, goal to go. Woody Bennett, 34. Tony Nathan, 22. Setbacks. Nathan. Oh, you have to like Nathan.
What a nice play.
Not publicized like maybe the Claytons, the Dupers, the Marinos, but he has been doing this for 6 years.
Maybe a little too early to speculate, but let's assume that Miami does score here. They go down 14-0. If the quarterback decision is going to be made for next year, there's been a quarterback controversy since training camp there. One would wonder, would you come in with Hogabin? If you do, then that pretty well puts Danny White on the trade block. If you leave Danny White in there, that's telling Hogabin something, I would guess.
No matter what the change or not, Don, somebody's probably going to have to go.
Somebody's got to go as right. I just wonder.
2nd and goal, there's a mix-up and a flag goes down. Marino trying to get it to Big Pete Johnson.
You know, Frank, it's such a tough position, as we know, because you're in the public eye playing quarterback, and Dallas has had some trouble, and they started the season with Hogaboom. We did the game out in L.A. He did really quite well. Stumbled, threw a lot of interceptions. But no matter what, somebody's got to get the team going. They've got to put a little spark in there.
I don't think they should, as we are about to get the call.
Yep.
Saddleback Miami up 5, illegal motion. Don, if I was them, I wouldn't be concerned about next year. They still have this year, and they can get into the playoffs. And thus far, it seems apparent that Danny White White is not going to be the guy to do it tonight.
Well, Danny's warming up, and Hogaboom is not, so they're going to go with him right now.
Here's Pat Haggerty.
He's flying. 3rd down.
The illegal motion was declined. The Cowboys will take the loss on the play. It'll be third down, goal to go. The ball at the 4-yard line. 10:47 remaining in the third quarter. Dolphins on top, 7-0, threatening to make it a 14-point lead. Keep in mind, Dallas, if they lose tonight, they are out of the playoff picture, and the Giants are in as the second wild card with the Los Angeles Rams in the NFC.
Somebody better get out there on the outside.
Yeah. Complete. Touchdown. There he is. Bruce Hardy. We saw him a few weeks ago against the Jets. He had a couple of touchdown passes. When you double up on those outside men, that tight end is going to be open. Nathan will be open coming out of the backfield, and Marino has now hit for his 46th touchdown of this season.
He threw that one in an area that's no bigger than a number 2 washed-up. If you watch Hardy come into the inside, keep in mind there's a little traffic there. Look at this ball. Can't be, but any place but right there. What a nice throw.
Marino now 193 yards and 15 completions, a couple of touchdowns, 1 interception. Von Schaman. The Cowboys now have found themselves in a very tough position. They're 14 down with 10:43 remaining in the third quarter. A loss tonight, they'll watch it all at home. It's a festive time here in the Orange Bowl with 10:43 remaining in this game between Miami and Dallas in the third quarter, that is. Miami has moved on top 14-0. They're set to kick off. Von Schaman, a quick look at Gary Allen, 31, Chuck McSwain, 35. Dallas needs to get things happening. They have struggled. They have not thrown the ball well. They have not run the ball well. They are going to have to stay close.
They are, because the Giants just packed another bag.
McSwain from the 6-yard line. Breaks out to the 25, where it'll be first down and 10. I remind you, college football excitement continuing on ABC with the Gator Bowl on December the 28th. The 7th-ranked South Carolina at 10-1 takes on 9th-ranked Oklahoma State at 9-2. And then on January 1st, the Sugar Bowl featuring number 4-ranked Nebraska against 12th-ranked LSU. Both games will be seen live at 8 o'clock Eastern here on ABC. And when you think of LSU, you think of Bill Arnsparger, who used to coach the defense for so many years here at Miami. His first year at LSU, he's in the Sugar Bowl. We'll be joining him. First down and 10. Cowboys at the 25-yard line. Dorsett, single setback. White, a lot of time. Gets to Dorsett. Puts a lot of moves on Bowser. Squeaks a yard out of it, but Bowser makes the open field tackle. Gain of a couple. It'll be second down and 8. Let's take a look at the scoring drive. And again, keep in mind that long pass interference call.
That one little black mark you see between the 30 and the 20 there was that pass that he threw to Cephalo. And that was as well as he can throw.
And of course, the other one, when Nathan fumbled way back at the 40-yard line, and Dallas was penalized. On second and 8, Dorsett breaks back against the grain out of the 30 to the 32, a gain of 4. It'll bring up third down and 3.
One name you haven't heard much of tonight is number 28 for Miami, Don McNeil. Now, when Don is healthy, he's one of the best cornerbacks in football, and when he's in this Miami Dolphins secondary, they're a different defensive unit because he can play a man one-on-one, and the other 3 defensive backs can run combinations on the other guys, and they're a much better defensive unit when Don McNeil is in the game.
Third down and 3, Dallas. The ball at their own 32-yard line. James Jones, 23. And there's a setback for Dallas. Anyway, flag is down at the line of scrimmage, but Cosby does not hold on. It would have been first down. But a flag is down at the line of scrimmage.
Well,
here's referee Pat Haggerty.
How about that? That'll give him a
down
first.
Dallas. I didn't see movement. Perhaps somebody lined up in the neutral zone.
Number 77, defense, lining up in the neutral zone.
actually on not injured reserve, but missed the first 5 games. Hasn't played that well because of shoulder and knee problems, and his teammates are kidding him. He said, when you get to Hawaii, perhaps you can make the cut over there.
He didn't start tonight, as a matter of fact.
On 1st and 10. Danny White.
Oh, Danny.
Kropotkinski, who labored almost anonymously for these Dolphins, but they will tell you that he is one of their most valuable players. So tough against the run. Kropotkinski.
Danny White was as lucky as you can get on that pass. I don't even think he looked to see if Tony was covered. If he had, I doubt very seriously if he would have thrown the ball.
You see, that was his checkoff man out there, right? When you look downfield, can't find what you want, check off.
8:58 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Dolphins leading the Cowboys 14-0. Danny White will look over a 2nd down and 10.
You don't get the feeling that Dallas is going to grind it out on them, do you? They got to have a big play.
Danny White wants Tony Hill on the right side. 30-second clock, ticking down to 5. They'll have to hurry. They get it off.
They shouldn't have.
Maybe they would have been better if they had. Good defensive play. Bob Baumauer playing hurt tonight. And the loss is back to the 30-yard line. Tony Dorsett had nowhere to go. Dallas looking flat.
When you see a team make those kind of mistakes in the last game of the season, they're either flat or somebody's really screwed up there in that offensive line.
Don, and we're reaching the point in the game where you have to scrap the game plan. Obviously, the game plan is to run the ball, and we're just about at the time when you're going to say, the heck with the game plan, we're going to throw the ball downfield.
They're almost in a 4-down situation.
They might have a hard time finding a game plan tonight. 3rd and 16, shotgun. Crowd loving the defensive performance of Miami tonight. Danny White goes down. He was in trouble all the way.
They had good coverage.
At the 26-yard line.
They had good coverage.
If he wasn't in trouble, he expected to be in trouble because he was acting like he was in trouble.
And they take one look at the coverage downfield. There was good coverage, and all of a sudden, the big forms of A.J. Duay, 77, and Doug Vedder, 75, were all over it. Danny White stays on to punt. Holden Walker settles back at the Miami Dolphins 28-yard line. There's Walker. Danny White is low. You can run it back.
Good defense.
Oh, wait a minute. And Holden Walker shakes loose.
The Aussie was down there, thought he had him.
McSwain had his arms on Walker. He was able to spin loose, Holden Walker was, and get back to the 31-yard line.
Dan Marino made his first ever NFL appearance in a Monday night game, September 19, 1983, against the Los Angeles Raiders. He entered the game in the 4th quarter and threw 2 touchdown passes to help Miami avert a shutout.
This scene has been played out so many times in pro football. Young Gary Hogaboom walking up and down in front of Tom Landry, trying to get his attention. There's no question in my mind. He's saying, well, look, I'm still here. Don't forget me. And meanwhile, Danny White struggling through a very tough evening. 1st down and 10, Miami. They lead 14-0, 7:35 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Over the middle. This is Mark Clayton. And Clayton short of the 1st down near the 38-yard line. It'll bring up 2nd down and 3.
I don't think we have to worry about Miami not playing for this game. O.J., they seem to be sharp. They're doing what they do well. Throw that ball. They mix up with it. They haven't run that many times, but they've run a few times.
I tell you, the main thing on their minds is I don't know any team that enjoys going to Denver to play, especially Denver in January. It's got to be a tough place to go and play, and that's where they may end up.
That's the possibility that Miami's trying to avert. Duper now 3 receptions on the night. Clayton has caught 2. He's at 71 on the year. That's, by the way, a season record for the Dolphins. Tony Nathan held short of the 1st down by about a yard.
This was the quarter where Dallas had the wind, if that was going to be of any significance at all. And they have not really been able to use that. Actually, I think the wind has died down a little bit. It feels that way.
To remark on that, it seems to have died considerably at the opening of the game. It was really brisk from the open end here in the Orange Bowl. As you can see, the streamers now just kind of sagging there.
Big Pete Johnson, number 46, is in the game. He has the lowest average per carry for any back who's carried the ball over 60 times this year, only 2.4 yards. And one of the reasons why, because he normally carries the ball on plays like this.
Good play. Ron Fellows up there quickly.
And he should have carried it.
He should have. Yeah, they gave it to the wrong guy, didn't they?
Ron Fellows, a busy night. He had one interception, gave the Cowboys a turnover in the early going of the game. They couldn't do anything with it. But this time, Fellows makes the play, and Reggie Roby comes on to punt on 4th down. Gary Allen back at the 20-yard line of Dallas. A lot of respect. Gary Allen showing Reggie Roby. Roby kicking into that slight breeze now, but he's still giving him about 50 yards.
The ebb and flow of the game, you would think it's time for Dallas to do something.
You would think that.
Roby doesn't get it to turn over, and Allen has to step forward to make the fair catch, but it's Dallas with good field position. 1st down and 10. They bring out the offensive unit. Uncharacteristically short punt for Roby.
I'll reveal what the jury didn't know during the murder trial of Gene Harris on 2020 Thursday.
Miami's defense playing awfully well tonight, but Dallas's offense totally ineffectual. They're looking for a spark. 1st down and 10. The ball at Dallas's 28-yard line. Dorsett sprints to the outside. And up close to a 1st down in the arms of Lyle Blackwood. And just short by about a half a yard. And we'll pause 5 seconds and allow our friends and stations all over the country to identify themselves.
Channel 10, WPLG, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
Back in the Orange Bowl in Miami. 5:10 remaining in the 3rd quarter. The Dolphins over the Dallas Cowboys 14-0. A couple of touchdown passes from Marino to Clayton in the 1st quarter. And then in the 3rd quarter, a shot to Bruce Hardy. And for Dallas, if they lose tonight, the playoffs are over for them. Any possibility. Miami, of course, playing for home field throughout the AFC playoffs. And a win tonight will give it to them. That was Dorsett on 2nd and short yardage, and he is held short of the 1st down. Bob Baumauer, a big, tall nose tackle. You don't find many nose tackles with 6'5", but he is such a good athlete. Don, I think you were with me when we did the Superstars here 3 or 4 years ago, and we were amazed at his athletic ability.
They ran the last event where they had to run and jump. What do you call that?
Obstacle course.
Obstacle course. That cat did it all, man. He was right there with the rest of them, jumping hurdles.
They're going to bring it out, even though Dorsett appeared to be stopped short of the 1st. By that much. It'll be 3rd down. 4:52 remaining in the 3rd quarter.
The Cowboys had a draft choice this year. I would love to see run that obstacle course. Carl Lewis.
Carl Lewis, that's right. They did, didn't they?
Again, this game having many ramifications tonight. Far up in the northeast of the country, the Giants players are sitting around, I'm sure, either at home or together, along with head coach Bill Parcells, who has to be considered a contender for NFC Coach of the Year.
They've got 2 bags packed already.
Dallas loses tonight, and they're on their way to Los Angeles to meet the Rams in the wild card game. 3rd down. Nobody turned up.
Nobody turned up is right.
And a flag goes down, and Danny White really gets pounded. This could be brought back. There might have been pass interference against Tony Hill. It could well have been. Tony Hill, who I think was supposed to turn upfield, ran into Fulton Walker.
And Timmy Newsom was trying to work free down the secondary, and I think somebody bumped him.
Holding. So the interception, that was a total foul up. Somebody had to get deep. Danny White, can't blame that one on him. No one was there. Certainly not where they should have been.
Well, you either do one of two things, though, Frank. If they're in a 4th down situation, if your guy's not there, you're going to know it real quick when you run a play-action pass. So if he's not there, throw it away, come back. Right on 4th.
Defensive holding, number 77.
They call it on A.J. Dewey, and it will be 1st down Dallas. They keep it alive at the 43-yard line.
Dewey, one of the great ball players, but the other players around the league who votes who goes to the Pro Bowl, going to have to pay a little closer attention to who's playing and who's not playing next year.
Pro Bowl, of course, January 27th. We'll bring it to you, and the players are decided by both the players and the coaches by vote. On first down. White and gets it in there to the tight end, Doug Cosby, and he rolls up close to a first down. And, of course, Pro Bowl starting a week after we'll be bringing you the Super Bowl, January the 20th, 4 o'clock Eastern Time. We're looking forward to it. We certainly hope you are.
Who will be playing, Don?
Boy, wouldn't San Francisco love it? Two teams. Stay home. But it's a long, tough road, and it's all sudden death throughout the playoffs. 3:40 and the clock is moving in the third quarter. Second down, short yardage. Danny White. Cosby comes down with it at the 25-yard line. First down, Dallas.
All right, they got a little spark going here now.
No time for Dallas.
Boy, this has been the extent of the offense. Danny White to this man, Doug Cosby, in his 6th year out of Santa Clara, 3rd year as a starter, and the leading receiver for Dallas coming in tonight, and he's done nothing to hurt that.
And the rest of the offense has been PU.
That means not up to snuff, not what you would like to see, or what you expected to see.
Not from Dallas.
That's right.
At the 25-yard line, first down and 10. Double setbacks. Newsom 30, James Jones 23. Dallas's deepest penetration.
To the corner.
Right, looking for the corner, and Tony Hill. And the coverage by William Judson. Good coverage it was. Danny White would have had to put it in there absolutely perfect. And this is not his night for perfection.
Almost appeared they had a little inside-out coverage on Hill. Had one of the Blackwood boys covered him if he went back to if he cut back to the inside. Judson's been around the ball pretty much tonight, hasn't he? He's played a pretty good game.
Miami defense playing well tonight.
Yeah, how about that one? In 40 games, they've now been held scoreless through 3 quarters.
Tendency to credit the lack of efficiency to Dallas's offense, but Miami is getting a fine performance tonight from that defensive unit. Dallas held 159 yards thus far. Second and 10. Dorsett. Nothing happening there. He turns right back into Bill Barnett, and down he goes. A gain of a couple. It'll be third down long, 3rd and 8.
Once again, that's obviously a part of the game plan, but one of the things besides the Miami defense that's handicapped Tony is this surface. As you can see, every time he attempts to make a violent cut, he slips.
He did it again that time, didn't he?
Ron Springs comes in. Tony Dorsett goes out on 3rd down and 8. Ron Springs, who really was replaced 3 weeks ago by Timmy Newsom. Good receiver. And he works well out of the backfield, does Springs. 73 receptions a year ago. Ron Springs. Oh, that will not make the highlights, or maybe it will. That will make the highlights.
Well, that was the play. That was a design play. What he was supposed to do was throw it back to Danny White.
And it looked like Danny White was asleep.
Yeah.
4th down and 8. Tom Landry making a decision on the sidelines. And on 4th and 8, the Cowboys will keep their offensive unit in.
I agree with you, Don. I think that play was designed. It may not have been designed to happen exactly the way it did, but if Danny White would have been alert, I think he could have caught the ball.
Yeah, well,
with 1:58, Cowboys decide to eschew the field goal. They're going to need it somewhere down the line.
If they're going to win.
Trailing 14-0. And Danny White says, "Can we quiet this group down?" And that will only bring on more of the tumultuous roar. And now it's being explained by referee Pat Haggerty. There's nothing we can do about it. Can't you please get the play off?
And you can't penalize the crowd.
I think if it was 1 or 2 yards to go, maybe you would go for it on 4th down. But with the score being 14-0, you're going to have to get 3 points to win eventually. But
and I tell you, the stadium will now start to really rock. We saw that happen up in or was it in the Denver-Seattle game? Finally, they stepped out of the shotgun, went back into the tee. We saw it happen yesterday. St. Louis got out of the shotgun, went back into the tee because the offensive lineman can hear the changes and the signals much better from the tee than they can from the shotgun.
You think that guy we just looked at painted his teeth yellow?
4th down and 8. 4 wide receivers in. Duriel Harris joins Tony Hill, Doug Donnelly, and Mike Renfro. Danny will wait him out. Won't do any good.
And if I was Danny, I would wait. It's all or nothing for the Cowboys, and the last thing you need is a mistake because you can't hear the call.
On 4th down and 8, the play has been called a long time ago. The defense has had plenty of time to look over the offensive set of the Cowboys. Of course, there'll be movement. That's what Danny White's concerned about. Now, he's going to have to move his receivers. 1 or 2 or more will go in motion. Don Shula trying to quiet this crowd. Forget it.
And the Lord says
they may listen to this man.
And the Lord says, let there be quiet.
Now the stadium announcement is being made. The home team, by the way, cannot be penalized for the actions of the crowd. That was a myth for many years. They cannot be. 4th and 8. It's louder, if anything. Danny White, 15 of 24, 131 yards, 1 interception. Fourth and 8.
Ooh, that's a flag.
That's a flag. Yeah. First down at the 1-yard line. Duriel Harris, the former Dolphin, gets the call. I believe it was one of the Blackwoods, Glenn Blackwood, who gave him a little grab. I don't know whether he would have caught it or not, but I've seen Duriel Harris make many circus catches here when he played for the Dolphins for those many years. I'll tell you, this is just frustration we're seeing now on the part of the Cowboys.
A little what they call take back from Duriel Harris, you know, when you get traded from a team. Now, let's watch it. Bottom of the screen.
That's Duriel Harris splitting the defenders.
You see Lyle Blackwood
who grabbed him. Yeah. Lyle Blackwood, the elder of the Blackwood brothers. Boy, this dude has been around. Came here in 81 after 4 years at Baltimore, a year at Seattle, 3 at Cincinnati, and has really found a home with his brother Glenn.
In the ebb and flow. It was time for the Cowboys to do something, and they did.
They did, or the Blackwood did? Somebody did.
Well,
it was done.
The other 2 drives by the Dolphins were helped by penalties.
Certainly
so why shouldn't this be
part of the game?
Duriel Harris traded to Cleveland this year, but he had great years right on this very same field. And he has the Cowboys close to being back into the game. Newsom. Yes, he's 232 pounds. He gets it into the end zone, and the Cowboys draw within a conversion of 7 points.
Looked like Jim Taylor on that run. Huh? Put the head down and I'll tell you.
Get it low and let's go.
He's big and strong. They brought him up as a 6th-round pick in 1980, put him at fullback for a year, then they put him behind Dorsett at tailback, and obviously didn't get into much play. This year they moved him back to fullback, where he really naturally belongs. And he became a starter ahead of Ron Springs 3 weeks ago, and he has put the Cowboys back into the football game. But the big call against Lyle Blackwood, working against Duriel Harris, the interference call. Septien makes it a 14-7 game with 1:47 remaining in the 3rd quarter. And for the Cowboys, so much on the line and a little more than a quarter to get it done. The Dallas offense translates a 4th and 8 decision on the part of Tom Landry, with a little help from the pass interference call at the 1-yard line, to a touchdown that puts them right back into this. The lead of the Dolphins now cut to 14-7. Fulton Walker is back for the kick to Raphael Septien. Short kick. Walker will have an opportunity from the 7. Walker hammered at the 24-yard line. Down he goes. And guess who? Bill Bates.
Pro Bowl.
Hey, Victor Scott was the guy that tore up all that interference that was going in there. He was paid the price and knocked out about 3 of the blockers.
Bill Bates stays on. And things have gotten a little tighter for Giants fans, Giants players, coaching staff, owners. They're looking on tonight. If Dallas wins tonight, they are out of the playoffs. If Dallas loses, they go to meet the Los Angeles Rams in the wild card game.
They got 2 bags packed, but they didn't lock the last suitcase.
74,139 jammed into the Orange Bowl tonight. Watching the Miami Dolphins lead the Cowboys with 1:37 remaining in the third quarter, 14-7. Miami first and 10, the ball inside their 25-yard line. Draw play to Nathan. Good defensive play. Merrick, who plays so often on the pass situation for Dallas in place of John Dutton. Quick look at the scoring drive. The key to it, a 4th and 8 call. Landry deciding to forego the field goal. The pass interference of Duriel Harris in the end zone, resulting in the ball being placed first down goal to go at the 1, and from there Timmy Newsom took it in.
And what were you going to say? And with every scoring drive tonight, a long yellow line.
That's it.
Loss of 1 by Nathan. It'll be second down and 11. Marino. Nathan, this one he does not handle. Bill Bates out there on the coverage.
The first time in quite a while this Cowboy defensive front 4 has placed some pressure on Marino.
They got to rest a little bit.
Dallas will be working against the breeze that still continues to blow here in the Orange Bowl, even though it is not as strong as it was at the beginning of the game.
Now let's see if Dallas can keep these Dolphin receivers out of the middle.
Third down and 11.
They haven't been able to do it all night.
Dallas into their 4-0 defense. 4 down linemen. Bates and Clinkscale play like linebackers. Marino, batted away.
All right.
Ed Too Tall Jones, his second bat of the night.
16 on the year for Big Ed.
Dexter Clinkscale did a good job of staying with Jimmy Cipolo, who was running the cross pattern.
And with 42 seconds remaining in the third quarter, clock stopped. Reggie Roby will have to kick against the breeze. And that means that Gary Allen can await the ball near the 35-yard line of Dallas. They should get good field position.
First glimmer, I think that might be the first or second time that they've stopped them in 3 downs tonight.
Cowboys have always been a second-half team.
Cowboys not good on their return teams. Their longest punt return of the year, 17 yards. Their longest kickoff return, 34 yards. Here's Reggie Roby. Oh, he kicked one. Beautiful punt. Allen at the 20. And Allen moves out with a fine return to the 34-yard line. 57-yard effort by Reggie Roby, the Pro Bowl punter. And out comes Danny White once again.
Not bad numbers, 15-24, 131 yards, 1 interception. Not a lot of yardage tonight.
We'll have 28 seconds remaining here in the third quarter to work with the breeze.
57 yards.
And then they'll turn it around. He'll go against it. 34-yard line, first and 10 Dallas. They'll work from the eye. Tell me about that one.
No one was open. I tell you, Don McNeil was all over Doug Donnelly, and I think that may have been his primary receiver, and he just dumped the ball over Doug Cosby's head.
Well,
It'll be second down and 10.
You see him talking to somebody back there.
Ed Jones didn't make the Pro Bowl this year. He's been in there so frequently.
Well, you know, he had 7 sacks, and they said it was a subpar year for him, but somehow they don't pay enough attention to those blocked passes.
Second and 10. Anyway, Cosby's open. Down with the ball at the 45-yard line. First down, Dallas are in Miami territory. 21-yard reception. And the final seconds of the third quarter will tick off before they get another play off.
That was the same kind of play that he caught a touchdown. I mean, it's a big pass on that last touchdown drive. Same pattern.
We'll be back after this from our stations. One final period of play, perhaps, for the Dallas Cowboys. They are down 14-7. They'll try to change that. They lose tonight and is home for the playoffs. A win tonight and they go on. They'll host the Los Angeles Rams in the wild card game next weekend. The Cowboys have a 1st and 10 near the 45-yard line of the Miami Dolphins as we begin the fourth quarter. Dorsett.
Nice.
His thing inside the 35. Dallas first down.
Nice little counter move. It was almost like a draw play, where he went back like he was going to throw, then hand the ball off behind him to Dorsett. That was a nice move by Danny White.
Dallas struggling all year. They lost 2 to the Giants. They lost 2 to the Redskins. They lost to Buffalo, and they lost once to St. Louis. Trying to stay in this one.
Trying to follow Glenn Titans.
Yeah.
I don't blame him, do you?
I don't blame him for not waiting for Glenn.
Yeah, see, Glenn, I can't wait any longer.
The ball just inside the 35-yard line. Dallas 1st and 10. Dorsett tries to work to the outside. Doug Betters trips him up. Gain of about 2. It'll be 2nd down and 8. Not the kind of year you need for a Tony Dorsett when your offensive line is hurt throughout the year, as we look at Gil Brandt, who has brought so many obscure players into this franchise. He was there when Tom Landry became the first coach the Cowboys ever had, along with Tex Schramm. You think of people like Drew Pearson, who retired this past season, free agent. 2nd and 8. Danny White loses the ball away from the center, falls on it. He's back to the original line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd down and 10. Take a look at the halftime numbers, and then we'll translate through the third quarter for you. Miami pulling away and the edge in yardage, even though the lead has been cut to 14-7. That's through the third quarter, and the records have been falling tonight. Dan Marino having another big night.
Sort of misleading, all the records that have been falling, because most of those records by the Miami Dolphins offense and Dan Marino, because the Cowboys have played an excellent defensive game here tonight.
They have over the past 3 games. They have played superb defense. I mentioned it earlier. 25 sacks in the last 3 games. Something happened to them after that loss to Buffalo. Perhaps embarrassment. 3rd and 10. Danny White has it batted away, and he is really nailed. Coming in on the blitz is Paul Langford, but his arm was in motion. It will be, however, 4th down.
I would say they wouldn't go for the 4th down situation here. They've got their 1 touchdown.
Oh, no, not now.
Now, if they bring it in, try to put it out way back.
And let the defense play their game. They've been playing well tonight. Miami, how many times this season, one wonders, have they been held to 14 points in 3 quarters?
Not many.
One of the most explosive offensive teams, and in many respects the most explosive offensive team in the history of the game.
If you want to consider yardage and scores.
Mark Clayton will drop. He'll just be guessing with Danny White. Mark Clayton, by the way, was the punt return man for the Dolphins a year ago. This year he's, of course, turned into sensational all-pro receiver. Danny looking for the corner. And it is not what he wanted. Mark it at just about the 11-yard line. So keep in mind, the line of scrimmage was the 31. So there's a gain of 20 on the punt. We'll be back.
Thursday, your favorite TV stars are hot and ready for action in the wildest competition ever. It's the all-new battle of the network stars, Thursday at 8, 7 Central.
Prior to tonight, the Miami Dolphins have been held to 14 points on 3 occasions in 15 outings. And in all 3 of those occasions, they went on to win. They lead now 14-7. Those 14 points, of course, going into the fourth quarter, they've been held to that 3 times thus far in the season. They won all of those games. Woody Bennett, flag is down. penetrated deep. Ed Jones was there, no place to go for Woody Bennett. And the Dolphins now, they are beginning to commit the errors.
I don't think I'd take that.
Me either.
Yeah, I don't want to give them any more downs. They got a long way to go anyway.
Don Shula, I think he takes great pride in the fact that his team is each year usually the team that is least penalized. Man is fair, decent, honest with the players, but he does not tolerate errors.
We have holding number 74. Offense, decline.
Yeah.
Second down.
Cleveland Green over the right side. He's done a great job filling in for Eric Laxo, who went out in September with a knee injury, as has Roy Foster over in the left guard position for Bob Kuchenberg. We talked about that earlier. But when your quarterback only gets sacked 12 times in 15 games, you know that the offensive line is doing something right, even though you have a quarterback that can get rid of the ball so quickly. Second and 10. Nathan out over the 15 to the 17-yard line. You might be wondering why Dallas declined that penalty. It would only have been half the distance to the goal line, and it would have been first down and 15 as opposed to second down and 10. And that doesn't make much difference to Marino.
The Dolphins are a lot like the 49ers in that if they get penalized on first down, they don't really think much of it. They figure 3 downs, they can get 20 yards with their passing game.
Nathan got 6. It'll be third down and 4. Nat Moore, Mark Clayton split to the left. Marino. That's great play. Great defensive play by Ron Fellows.
You bet.
Who has made superb plays all night long.
That was really pretty. He kept his body away from the receiver's body. Let's look at it again from Marino's point of view. Didn't get it really rushed too terribly bad. But look at this. Fellows comes across and knocks that ball around. That's a nice move, Ron.
One of the first times I've seen Marino really wind up to throw one. He usually just snaps it from right behind his head. Roby to kick. He has that prevailing breeze, and Gary Allen showing deep respect.
Yeah.
He's way back at the Cowboys' 30-yard line, and Roby will kick from about the 8.
Giving him about 65 yards here.
Jeff Toews providing the snap. Crowd loves it.
He needed every foot of it.
Gary Allen. And a flag is down. It's Gary Allen, and I think it's going to be on Bill Bates.
Yeah, that's 2 big penalties on Bates tonight.
That's a big one because they could have had the ball near midfield.
You bet.
And that will nullify a fine return by Gary Allen. The Cowboys will be backed up.
Boy, what a punt. 54 yards from the line of scrimmage. He was about 12 to 15 yards behind that.
Holding number 40 on the return. First down.
That hurts Bill Bates. Second major penalty tonight. But Dallas gets the football back. 11:49 remaining in the game, and they trail by 7. 11:49 remaining in the game. The Dolphins over the Cowboys 14-7. 2 fine defensive efforts tonight. Neither offense what they could be or what was expected tonight, even though the Dolphins have moved the ball considerably more than Dallas. On first and 10, Dorsett. And Dorsett out over the 40-yard line to the 41 beyond the block of Glenn Titans. He'll get 6 out of that. It'll be second down and 4.
Notice Tony Hill is walking off the field. He tried to make a block. He appeared to have injured himself.
That's certainly not going to help, is it?
That looks like a wind knocked out of me.
Let's look at Tony Hill, number 80. Comes in to make a little crackback block.
That's not his forte. Oh, he says, what was that?
Oh, could be a right shoulder, too.
That's what he heard earlier, remember?
Second down and 4. Dorsett getting it out close to the 42-yard line. Dorsett So set to the 45-yard line. He'll be short of the first down by about a yard. Hit by Brzezinski and Doug Betters over the left side of the Dolphins defense.
Well, number 86, Daryl Harris, is now in the game for the Cowboys, and he should be the most motivated player on the field. He used to play for this Cowboy team, and they would have traded me away with Dan Marino, coming to my team. I would love to stay there.
They have a Dolphin that is down, and we've been unable to identify him as the Dolphin players have surrounded him. But the medical team has come out, and it's number 73. That's Bob Baumauer. He came into the night, as I mentioned several times, playing on a very sore ankle, and now they are taking a very concerned look at Bob Baumauer. Good athlete, as I mentioned earlier. Good against the run, also good against the pass.
They're working high up on that arm under that shoulder pad, and they sure can't afford to lose him.
Meanwhile, we'll try to get a report on Tony Hill's condition, who went out just a few minutes ago. This game takes its toll. We'll look again. Right side of your screen, number 65, Kurt Peterson blocking Bob Baumauer.
Ooh, there was that head snap. Brzezinski, number 59, came in to make the tackle. He hit him and snapped his head.
Tony Hill, apparently it was nothing severe. Perhaps the wind knocked out of him. Meanwhile, Bob Baumauer is very slow getting up. He'll be assisted from the field.
How many times does a player get hurt when his own teammate comes in on the pile like that?
A lot. We saw him stretching out the neck. Hey, when you get there, I'll come off on my own, says Baumauer.
A lot of fighters have said that. I can go another round.
You get that shot to the head, the neck snaps back, and it feels like electricity all through your body. Third down, less than a yard for the Dallas Cowboys. 11:22 remaining in the game. They start the clock again. Short yardage offense for the Cowboys. The three tight ends are in. Newsom, he'll have the first down. Close to the 47-yard line. Cowboys keep it alive. That was Ron Springs, brother. No, it was Newsom. Tony Hill back in the game. 47-yard line, first down. Strange game. Really is. It's kind of offensive teams, explosive teams down.
And the crowd seems kind of flat, too. They're like waiting for something to happen. It's one of those kind of deals.
They came in with high anticipation of offensive fireworks. What they're seeing is a struggling defensive game. Like that. Dorsett spins out of the grass. He slipped again. Lyle Blackwood. He gets away from Barnett, but Blackwood is there.
With Tony, as you saw, he did an excellent job of getting away from that first contact, and he had a one-on-one situation that he would normally win out here on the outside, but once again, the turf gave way on him.
He's really had trouble with that almost every run tonight. It looked to be a mix-up in the backfield that time, too. I don't know what it was, but he was bumped in around there. They had a little bit difficulty in finding a place to line up.
All right. Second down long. The Dolphins like to blitz on it also. We'll cover it from the end zone. You can watch it develop.
Here they come.
Blitz was on, and White read it, trying to get it to Tony Hill, but too much pressure. And it was Don McNeil running stride for stride with Tony Hill.
And this is certainly a different Dolphin defense with this man playing.
They do have problems without him. They traded Gerald Small to Atlanta, the starting right cornerback, a year ago, and of course they counted heavily on Don McNeil being able to return from a year off of Achilles injury. He couldn't. He was injured in the second game, and they have had to go with Judson on the right side, who had played on the left side last year, and they've had to go with Paul Langford, and they have not been too happy with that over the course of the season. McNeil does help. Third down and 10 for them defense for Miami. 9:39 remaining in the game. Dolphins on top, 14-7. And he's right. And incomplete. With Duriel Harris, he almost made a circus catch, and once again, as we've seen so often, the turf slipped and Duriel Harris went down. Right there.
Yep.
That was a good effort.
Spectacular catch. Dolphins now, I'll tell you, they're pulling out all the stops. We wondered whether they were going to play tonight. They had it all locked up except the home field advantage. They bring this man back, Mark Clayton, put him back on punts. He was a superb punt returner a year ago. Had a 60-yard touchdown against the Colts a year ago. So he can bring it back. Fair catch. Called for by Clayton, but Glenn Blackwood stepped in front of it. And they will bring it back and mark it at the 23-yard line.
I think I would complain, too, all that extra unnecessary contact.
Actually, it was Clayton who called for the fair catch, and it was Blackwood, Glenn Blackwood, who stepped in front and took the ball away from Clayton.
They're going to get it sorted out, but I think they are right. I heard one of the Cowboys say he called for the fair catch.
He had a fair catch.
There you go.
But another player caught it. The ball is dead at that spot.
And dead at the spot where it was caught. Tom Landry, concerned. Yes, he is. He's had a struggling year. He started with a quarterback controversy. His offensive line was decimated. Controversy within the team. Problems for the year. 17 of the last 18 years, the Dallas Cowboys have been in the playoffs. They trail 14-7. That's the fair catch that I mentioned a moment ago, called by Mark Clayton. And then Glenn Blackwood stepped in front of him and said, hey, I can put something on this. But they mark it where he caught the ball. It'll be first down and 10. The Dolphins at their own 23-yard line.
It's not a penalty. It should be.
Chickenham. Marino shut down here in the second half. He's 6 of 12, 47 yards, and the 1 touchdown. Marino changing up. Woody Bennett. And perhaps he should have changed to something else. A gain of about 1.5 yards. It'll be 2nd and 8. Tonight on Nightline, he could be the next leader of the Soviet Union. Now he's on an important state visit to Great Britain. Who is Mikhail Gorbachev? That tonight on Nightline, following your late local news.
It's a good move by Jim Jeffcoat that time. That was a perfect example of Dallas's flex defense, where he lines up his defensive end, moves into the inside, met him head up.
2nd down and 8. The ball resting right at the 25-yard line. Inside 9 minutes remaining in the game. And perhaps the Cowboys see over the middle. Randy White pressuring, trying to get it to Nathan, and Randy White showing the discipline of a great pro. He pulled up after the ball was delivered. That was Bill Bates making the play on Tony Nathan.
You can see Randy White's jersey is about the dirtiest one out there, but he says, I just want to bump him. I didn't hit him hard.
Well, the Cowboy safeties are beginning to take some liberties on these turn-ins and turn-outs, and it's about time that the Dolphins put one up for the bomb. Put that bomb out there.
Marino, his last 4 attempts have been incomplete. 3rd down and 8. Oh, and almost picked off. It was a great grab by Michael Downs. One-handed lead. Downs went up, came down with it, and the Cowboys will be at the 21-yard line of the Dolphins. That was an unbelievable catch. His 7th interception of the season and a 25-yard return, but that was really an acrobatic interception.
They really needed something like that.
Take a look at it. The receiver, I think, is covered anyway. It appears as if he had an opportunity to jump up. So that's jump ball right there.
But look at that interception. That is amazing.
Everson Walls on that more.
Look at Everson.
Michael Downs. Run the ball, Michael. And he slips.
The 2nd interception of Marino tonight. Earlier, Ron Fellows got one. Gave the Cowboys an opportunity almost at the same identical field position. They did not capitalize. They desperately need it now. Dorsett, reverse. Tony Hill. Good running. But the Dolphins string it out. And they hold Tony Hill to a gain of about 7.
There's no need to save anything. They're pulling them all out. Reverses. I bet you trying to that pass they were trying to throw to Danny White a while ago. What do you got going up on us now, Tom?
He's
says.
It's a good call. Good thing number 53, Jay Brophy, a rookie linebacker, he wasn't full, and he forced Hill to keep it outside. Didn't let him turn it up for a bigger gain.
Shula likes linebackers. His top 4 picks were linebackers this year. Jay Brophy has filled in admirably for A.J. Dewey throughout the season. Second down and 3. Back into the eye. They like to throw from this. White. Conley. Or rather, Renfro. And he'll have the first down.
I'm getting serious when he puts his glasses on.
Man, one of the few passes that have been completed in Don McNeil's territory tonight. Of course, it was a very safe pass.
First down, goal to go. Ball at the 8-yard line. Dolphins bring in a 4-down line now. Barnett joins Baumauer, Fetters, and Bocamper. You know, Giant fans getting a little nervous up in the Northeast. The Cowboys win tonight. That's the end of the season for the Giants. If the Cowboys lose, the Giants become the wild card and move into the playoffs. Dorsett. Good running. Good hard running as Dorsett is inside the 5 to the 4. It'll be second down goal.
The irony of the Giants and the Cowboys, as you just mentioned, Frank, the Giants have lost their last 2 ball games, but they've beaten Dallas twice this year.
They wondered about that themselves.
Yeah, I bet they are. They're waiting on the team that they've beaten twice to lose so they can go. Have not looked as good as they certainly would like to these last 2 weeks.
Dorsett 60 yards on 19 tough carries. But they have been all tough carries for Dorsett this year, running behind this line that has been patchwork almost every week.
That's why I think it's one of Tony's finest years.
Second and goal. All right. His second touchdown of the night, and we are a conversion away from a tie ball game. It's 7:28 remaining in the 4th period.
Unpacked one bag.
Don Shula trying to avoid a down-the-line confrontation. It could be possible with Denver in Denver should the Miami Dolphins lose tonight.
Had him a good hole here, didn't he?
Very nice hole. This is just a power play. You see every guy up front take the guy in front of him.
Blocked by Rafferty. He is the only member of that offensive line that has started every game, the center. And he turned Baumauer to the outside. Newsom smelled it and drilled it in.
Herb Scott had a good block there.
He took him right across the hole.
Septien to tie it up.
Just
tied at 14 with 7:28 remaining. Things are a little quieter here at the Orange Bowl. The Cowboys have hung in there. They've done it mostly on defense. We'll be back in a moment. Bolton Walker has gone to the Miami Dolphin dressing room, and they are looking at a possible fracture of the cheekbone. That's the word we received. Meanwhile, Joe Carter, the rookie from Alabama, will drop back where Fulton Walker ordinarily would be. We've already watched Mark Clayton back on punts where Walker would be. Carter has not returned any kickoffs thus far this season for the Dolphins. 7:28 remaining. We're tied at 14. Septien against the breeze.
nice bounce.
You got to cover it, Carter. You got to cover it. That ball is free. So that'll be the touchback. He'll come out to the 20. And Dan Marino has been intercepted twice tonight. Held short here in the second half. And only twice in this young man's career. And it has been spectacular and sparkling as he's been held under 50%. And this has to go down as certainly one of his weakest showings, if not the weakest.
Well, he had 2 interceptions, and there were 2 other occasions where the ball could have very well had been intercepted.
Woody Bennett, single setback. But they are explosive. On the outside, Cooper and Clayton can strike from anywhere. Marino dumps it off to Bennett. Here comes Clinkscale, and he makes a little open field tackle.
Tell you, he's a tough cookie, that Clinkscale. He's around that ball.
Well, that's the only thing the Dolphins are going to be able to do this quarter, because the Cowboys have done a super job of closing off the center of the football field, and that's what was burning them earlier in the football game.
There's still 7:09 remaining in the game. We are tied at 14. Interestingly enough, should this go 5 quarters and end in a tie, both teams would achieve what they came out here to do with a victory, and that is Dallas would get into the playoffs. The Giants are gone, and Miami would also get the home field throughout the AFC playoffs. Tony Nathan.
What a nice job by keeping on your feet, Tony.
A great job by Randy White breaking through there.
Nathan held short of the first down by a couple.
I'm a fan of Nathan. I think Nathan runs the ball as well as anybody from the yard of scrimmage to 5 yards down the field. He runs that real well in those tight quarters.
Seen him get loose a couple of times tonight when it appeared they had him. That time Randy White had a shot at him, and was that Jeff Goat too?
You know, I'm not so sure, but as I've watched Miami all year, it seems like they've almost constricted their offense tonight. They've thrown maybe 1 or 2 times, and that was back in the first quarter, deep to Clayton and Duper. Right now they look over 3rd and 2, and they'll work from the shotgun. And White, he got that. White, Duper, down with the ball at the 45-yard line. First down, Miami. Michael Downs on the stop. That was a 17-yard pickup, and Duper with that great speed. You have to lay off. Ron Fellows way off of Duper. This man was part of the 400-meter NCAA relay championship team as a junior. Great speed.
Well, on turn-ins like that, you need your linebackers, or if you have 6 defensive backs, whoever's playing that linebacker position taking that pass away. It's pretty tough for the deep back to take that pass away.
Duper now 71 receptions on the year. He's had 4 tonight. First and 10, Miami. Nathan upended. Good defensive play once again. Dexter Clinkscale and Dennis Thurman. Both of them were there.
Very surprised at how many players we've seen slip down tonight. They just seem to feel we were out there before the game, and it did seem a little bit wet, but it's amazing how many times these guys have slipped down.
Clock beginning to tick away. Heading down to 5 minutes remaining in the game.
Could this be an Uwe von Schamann night?
I doubt if any New York Giants have turned this one off for their fans up in New York. Second down and long. Marino with a lot of time. There's the bomb, but it'll be overthrown. Trying to get it to Clayton and running stride for stride. Everson Walls, and on the other end of it, Marino pays for it, and he gets up limping. Von Schamann. They might have to call on him. They're not close enough yet, but he has suffered through a miserable year for a kicker.
He's got a bad knee. Let's see if wears a brace on, I should say. Jeff Cope got him right on that knee.
That's about the only way that Anderson brace that he wears can protect you if you get hit from the side, but it doesn't do much protection when you get hit front on like that.
Third down and 6. The ball at the 49-yard line of the Dolphins. From the shotgun. Crowd getting into it. They're on their feet. Marino, Nathan, first down, and what a struggle Nathan had getting off the line of scrimmage. Bill Bates was battling him all the way, and Marino just sizzled it in there where Nathan almost had to catch it.
Well, Bates was trying to do the right thing. He was trying to keep him from getting over the middle. Didn't quite make it, though, but watch this pass. You'll see the pass and the completion right here. Talking about a bullet.
Bates and Nathan had bumped along the line of scrimmage, and Nathan was able to pull loose. And Nathan has really been a factor in tonight's play offensively for the Dolphins, both receiving and rushing. The first down is at the 44 of the Cowboys.
That boy can throw that
again. And hurdling inside the 40. It'll be a gain of 6. Dexter Clinkscale on the stop. Ron Schamann, I mentioned earlier, his long of the year, 37 yards. His career best is 53 yards, but that was back in '79 when he was a rookie. He's kicked from far out 3 times this year, 53 yards twice, 58 yards once. He's missed all 3. Interesting little note, we also came up with only one team, the Oakland Raiders in '75, ever won a division without a field goal of 40 or more yards.
George Bland
third down and about 4, and that put the Dolphins again in the pass situation.
And that's what the Cowboys certainly wanted to do. They ran about a third and 2 or 3 a while ago when they completed it 17-yarder to Duper. But this one's for sure a fast down, so maybe Dallas will throw a different rush out of it.
When you think of the Dolphins have been an explosive offense, and they are, but thus far this has been a real championship drive. May end here, though.
It's closer to 5 yards. They marked it at the 39. 2:45 and the clock is moving. That remains in the game, and the Cowboys show blitz. And they bring it. Goodbye. Clayton. His 17th touchdown of the season, a 39-yard reception. He ties the record of Don Hudson, set in 42, Elroy Hirsch in 51, and Bill Groman in 61. And more than that, he puts the Dolphins on top once again with 2:31 remaining in the game. Hear this crowd.
You live by the blitz.
You die by the blitz.
Ron Fellows made a good effort.
A lesser arm and that ball would have never gotten there.
You are right.
And that pass also puts Dan Marino over 5,000 yards for the single season.
Incredible.
Von Schaman, perhaps breathing a sigh of relief. He can tie it up with a conversion. As he did earlier, and now he has put the Dolphins a touchdown and a conversion on top. Mark Clayton, what a year you're having. It may be in the shadow of Dan Marino, but you two have been remarkable.
You're going to see a great blitz here. And same guy up in his face down. As I said, a lesser arm and that ball would have never gotten there.
And had to be right there, too, didn't it? Fellows was looking interception. We've seen some unbelievable individual moves tonight. Remember, Marino has downs in his face. Fellows looking for the interception probably could not believe Marino could throw it that accurately.
I tell you, Mark Clayton, they love you in New York, kid. You go there right when the season's over.
8th round pick out of Louisville.
They give him a ticker tape parade.
Take Marino with him and give him part of the city.
Not over. 2:31 remaining in the game. The Cowboys have battled particularly well on defense tonight.
L.A. likes him, too.
That was another third down situation the Dolphins hit on there. That's 2 big third down situations where they made the game. One of them was a touchdown. Give them a lot of credit. Those guys are good.
Dallas staring playoff elimination right in the face. Gary Allen, Chuck McSwain, Von Schaman, kicking with the prevailing breeze. Gary Allen will bring it out. Allen out over the 20 to the 22, where Jim Jensen, a multi-purpose quarterback, trots out onto the field.
Well, this drive will tell us if the Cowboys deserve to be in the playoffs.
That's it. Jensen is really something. He caught passes earlier in the year. That time he hustled down there in the special team. He's run the ball. He has thrown the only touchdown pass other than Dan Marino. Dolphin fans are back into it. They were stunned when the Cowboys brought it even at 14. Dallas's ball at their own 22, 1st and 10. Dorsett. And Dorsett will have the first down at the 34-yard line. We'll pause 4 seconds and allow our stations to identify themselves.
Channel 10, WPLG, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
Cowboys will probably not get this playoff before the 2-minute warning. They do not. We have the 2-minute warning for the Cowboys at 1st and 10. The ball at their own 34-yard line. It's the Cowboys with 3 timeouts remaining in the game. 2 minutes for possible playoff elimination. 2 minutes remaining in the game. The Dallas Cowboys with the football at the 35-yard line, or just shy of that at the 34. They have a first down and 10. They have 3 timeouts remaining. They have struggled all night offensively. They have fought valiantly defensively, as they have over the past 3 weeks. But the Miami defense has also reappeared tonight. Perhaps the lack of efficiency on the part of the Dallas offense could be more of a credit to the defense of Miami. First and 10. Danny White fires. Was he in bounds?
That's another Franco Harris move.
On the sidelines, Tony Hill. And what a stunning completion. Hill, not the intended receiver.
The referee's called it back.
And they are going to bring it back, I believe. And that call, a courageous one by the official.
He called it real late. His flag is on about the 25-yard line, 27-yard line. Much further downfield than the reception was made.
He's in trouble.
Dick Creed is the official, the side judge. He was right there in position to see what transpired.
We think.
Stunning situation. At number 61, that's Dick Creed. He's the side judge. He'll try to work it out with Pat Haggerty. And here is referee Pat Haggerty.
The ball was tipped. The player came back in bounds legally and caught the ball for a touchdown.
All right.
Oh, my God. Back in bounds, 66-yard touchdown.
Well, the official obviously didn't see the tip. He just knew the player is not allowed to go out of bounds and come in and catch the ball. Let's take a look.
Intended receiver was, I can assure you, not Tony Hill.
And here's the tip. And here, right there.
Oh, is that amazing?
Tony was just standing there.
James Jones was the intended receiver. The ball tipped away, and there goes Tony Hill, and we are a conversion point away from a tie ball game.
You know, they were playing a zone, and I can't understand how Tony could have gotten knocked out of bounds before that time.
Well, he's back in bounds, and we're going for another tie.
Rafael Seppion to tie it up. Tied again with 1:47 remaining in the game. And Giants players, fans, staff, I hope you didn't leave early.
Let's see them both again.
Intended receivers, James Jones. Out of the way.
The ball was actually thrown behind James. Not a good throw. It was tipped.
Don McNeil
by
tipped
McNeil, and he says, "Oh gosh, I should have had it."
Look what I found.
And McNeil's not even looking behind him, and there's Tony Hill that's got the ball.
There's on the 50-yard line, standing right there, number 80, catches the ball clean. And just stay in bounds, Tony. Just stay in bounds. Why wouldn't he come to the middle of the field? Don't make me nervous, Tony.
Oh, I can't believe that.
1:47 remaining. The Dolphins have 3 timeouts. Tony Hill, he has made so many big plays over the years. Missed the first 5 games this season. Injured shoulder in our game earlier. Second game of the season against the Rams.
The crowd noise in here is unbelievable. It's like a buzz. Everybody's saying probably the same thing. Can you believe that, or what happened?
And for Danny White, it goes in this books as a long completion with an assist.
Joe Carter is back, stepped in to kick it off. The Dolphins have 3 timeouts.
Somebody likes them.
Kozlowski moves it up to good field position, 29-yard line. And out comes Dan Marino and company.
All right, guys.
Marino heading for another 300-yard game.
And how many times have you seen the Cowboys do this?
Not many times this year.
That's right.
Enough to be here. With it,
if you
something at stake.
Down the line, should they go on to win? You think down the line you won't be looking back at this play as they move through the playoffs, if they should do so?
So many things.
The way their defense is playing, they could be tough in the playoffs.
How about the 21 points they scored against New Orleans in the fourth quarter?
First down and 10. Again, the Dolphins can strike so quickly and so suddenly from anywhere on the field. Comes Randy White. Screen and oh my gosh, Bill Bates. There'll be about a yard loss on that play. Great combination of Randy White. They've lived by that through the season. And then Bill Bates, this man, a free agent from Tennessee a year ago. Second and 11. Nathan. Taken down, Bill Bates again. Short of the first down. It'll be third down and a long two.
Not off
Once again, Von Schaman is back in the barrel.
Big third down is going to be up to Bates or Dickerson to try to keep him from running that pattern over the middle.
Third and 3, and Clayton is wide open. Watch out.
And there he's gone.
Do you believe it? They can't strike from anywhere. And it's almost...
The defensive line is stunned.
And the explosive offense we've waited for and waited for, we have seen in the last few minutes. It's only almost incidental. Marino has just broken Faust's record for completions. He now has 362, the old Faust mark of 360, and I don't believe Tom Landry believes it. I'm not quite sure Shula does.
I don't think I do.
51 seconds remaining. It's still not over.
And it was still third down. Another third down.
And the Giants can pack their bags once again.
The most popular man in New York and L.A. right now is Mark Clayton.
His 18th touchdown. That broke the record he had tied earlier, set by Don Hudson in 42. Elroy Hirsch in 51. And Bill Groman of the Houston Oilers in 61.
Sounds like the old Houston song.
Von Schaman, again, has taken a deep breath. What a tremendous year for Mark Clayton. 18 touchdown receptions. Von Schaman makes it 28-21. 51 seconds remaining in the game. The Cowboys have 3 timeouts.
Well, Clayton, I wouldn't go to Denver to ski if I was you.
You think you can believe it? An 8th round draft pick a year ago. They used him running punchback. He only caught 6 passes all last year.
Good blocking right there. They gave him plenty of time. Third down and about 4 or 5. And he just got into the inside again. You're right. That middle, they're long gone.
Here's his route. I thought they would play him inside out and do anything but let these guys get them. Well, you can see he improvised. He ran his. This is.
No, that's not it.
We had a little mess up there.
Clayton now on the night, 4 receptions, 150 yards, 3 touchdowns. He came in tonight with 15. So far, he has 18. More than that, he came in with 69 receptions. That was a new Dolphin record. 73 receptions on the year. That's a new Dolphin record. Mark Duper had 4 the night for 55 yards.
He was open on that play, too.
Yeah, he was.
Von Schaman to put it in play. And there is still hope in the hearts of the Cowboys, although it's faded to a glimmer.
18 touchdowns by a receiver. Oh.
What they set out to do tonight. And we'll take now a look. We apologize for that replay a moment ago. This is Clayton.
Oh, play him inside out. Don't let him get in any inside. And you can see Michael Downs took a bad angle to the ball. That was number 26. And that allowed him to score, really.
Again, that great speed. And Marino again over 300 yards. 23 of 40. 350 yards. 4 touchdowns. A couple of interceptions. He just has exploded here in the 4th quarter. Is shaking because the stands were actually shaking that severely. gain of 6. It'll be 2nd and 4. We'll see the hurry-up offense. 30 seconds remaining.
They don't believe in calling those timeouts. Look out.
And it's picked off.
That's
McNeil to the 20-yard line. That was Glenn Blackwood who tipped it into the arms of Don McNeil.
Zip up the bags into New York. They're heading to L.A.
And it looks as though the Giants will play at Los Angeles in the NFC Wild Card next Sunday, and the AFC Wild Card game will be moved to Saturday with the Raiders at Seattle. Dallas, of course, if they go on to lose, as it appears they will, they're eliminated, and they're out of the playoffs for the first time since 1974, ending the Cowboys' record run of 9 straight playoff seasons. The Dolphins, by the way, will be the home team not only in their first playoff game on December the 29th, but also in the AFC Championship game on January the 6th, should they get that far.
And it's too bad they couldn't have played the Cowboys, that is, like this all season long. Because if they had, they'd be in the playoffs.
Cowboys kind of had I think they had to come to terms after the Buffalo game, and they either going to play or they weren't. I think it's a pretty good sign maybe for next year, because they got it together after the Buffalo game, went up there and were supposed to win, didn't, of course.
Well, after losing to that Buffalo team, you had to do something.
That's it. Dan Marino, congratulations.
Drop on the ball. The final seconds will tick off. The Cowboys have 3 timeouts remaining. Tom Landry, a lot of class, waves to Don Shula. The second and third winningest coach is in the history of the NFL. They are now separated after Landry's 25 years, after Shula's 22 years, by only 3 victories. 3 overall victories. And this young man, what a future. I said it at the top of the show. He could very well, in years to come, turn the NFL record book for passing into his own personal biography. And Mark Clayton, you're not far behind. 3, yes, 3. Fireworks in the closing moments here in Miami. The Dolphins win it over the Cowboys, 28-21. Final word in just a moment. It's all over here in Miami. The Dolphins over the Cowboys, 28-21. Let's look at it one more time. Dan Marino at his very finest. Mark Clayton.
Look at that offensive line work for him in there, Frank.
They've done it all year.
They really have.
He was sacked twice tonight, but only 12 times into tonight. And look at this young man.
And he's looking both sides and saying, the sailing is clear from here. I'm coming on home.
The record is mine, is what he's saying. 18. What a season.
Quite possibly avoided a trip to Denver January the 6th. Tom Landry broke a string of 9 consecutive years in the playoffs.
I got a good feeling he'll be back next year with it, though. He's coming back to coach. He's got maybe more determination and reason than he would have had otherwise.
This ABC Sports exclusive has been brought to you by Light Beer from Miller. Everything you've always wanted in a beer and less. And by Chevrolet, who invites you to see today's Chevy. Drive today's Chevy, live today's Chevy. And by IBM, the growing family of IBM personal computers. And by RCA, from cameras to video recorders to full spectrum televisions, RCA creates technology that excites the senses.
The Dolphins